That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm,
articulate and intelligent.
Greg's a bitch. That's all.
I find them offensive as hell.
I've never been a fan.
Yeah, fuck that.
Terrible! Bad! Not bad! Oh, pretty good. Okay! Decent! Fair! Great! I loved it!
This sucks. Yeah, you really gotta wonder how the stuff gets made.
All right, welcome to the Straight Red Card, where your stepsister's just fine, but your stepdaughter, we got to talk about that. All right, that's a little questionable. Brad is in the wilderness. Yes, we are live watching this farcical, ridiculous horse shit as Ronaldinho is finally on stage. We've been watching for since 7:30. It's 8:15. They haven't pulled a single ball from to decide us. Decide who's going to play who in Copa America yet and what group. But they did introduce us to the mascot, the ball that they're going to play with, which they fondled on stage. And now,
Derek, do you want to turn your volume down or mute or something?
Oh, I can't speak.
So real quick, BMR says tax live streaming going with 1,600 people. Yeah.
We know.
Definitely going to be an uphill battle there since he's already started. And it was, and to their defense, they expected the balls to have been dropped.
Yes.
Way
a long time ago. Yeah, all of us did. So we didn't even expect there would be a crossover.
I mean, couldn't you have simply? I guess this keeps everybody on their toes. I'm excited to see it and watching the whole show. Whereas if you just pull the balls from the get-go, maybe you lose part of your audience because they're like, I don't need to hear about the cup. I don't need to hear about who's playing who, when, how, where.
Well, they also laid out the whole procedure for drawing the balls, which I think is unnecessary. Like, I guess we already know kind of how that's going to happen. We're
sticking our hand into this pot and grabbing one ball and lifting up.
Yeah, and now they're bringing the players up who are going to stand in front of each of the bowls. And, I know you, Mr. Goalkeeper, Mr. Jorge Campos.
Turd in the background says, welcome to the... You can do that.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. I'm hiding in the bathroom so I can make this comment. Greg is making me my bitch right now. I don't know the draw yet. I do know my wife is getting her ass eaten. Little tossing the salad action.
By Greg?
Yeah.
Whoa.
On the Turd's wife. Well,
props, I guess.
No. Is it Greg that's over? You have Greg over at your house right now, Michael?
Greg is making me my bitch right now. I don't know the draw yet.
Well,
I know she's gonna ask me.
Michael, Greg's at this drawing, so that's probably not Greg. That's somebody else that is ball-headed that you might think is Greg, but who they said was Greg eating your wife's asshole out in the bathroom. But it looks like it could be somebody else because I just saw either it's Greg's double here tonight or
Jay.
I guess they do look a little alike.
A little.
Jay's toxic, though, according to Tab Ramos.
The Department of Relationship Propaganda is asking if it's a camping trip, Brett. No, I'm out here starting my own religion.
Okay.
The Ministry of the Straight Red Card.
You're not losing your religion?
Righty then.
Losing my religion. All right.
That's me in the forest.
That's me in the forest. That's hilarious. Gaining my religion. There you go.
We got a ball.
We got a ball. We have a ball.
Argentina.
It's Argentina.
Who didn't see that coming?
Yeah, we already know what groups they're going into. That's the sad
I wonder
part.
who's going to be in Pot B. Could it be the Gold Cup winner?
Mexico.
It's probably. I'm going to guess it's Mexico. Yeah.
And the next ball is going to be the Estados Unidos.
Because he's literally picking the one that's already predetermined. Hey, pick the red ball.
Exactly.
Hey.
All right.
You know,
now
pick
give
that
us
red ball.
Here's the green ball, and that's going to be the U.S. We already knew this. You could have this already pre-positioned and done.
Yeah.
Seth Floyd, $4.99. Just finished my final exams at college. Also had to deal with bronchitis the entire time. Here's $5 to the best U.S. soccer channel on YouTube. Thank you, Seth. We love you, brother.
USA.
Hope you get better
USA.
with that bronchitis. That's
I'm
a
little
bitch.
behind.
It's
Yeah,
a little
absolutely.
bit.
That sucks.
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
was USA. I've had it many times through my lifetime.
My worst is I had food poisoning the week of finals. And I was out for like the final 3 days. I had to make up like 2 finals the next semester.
Oh, you didn't take them with food poisoning?
Fuck no.
All right. So we've got our groups A, B, C, and D. They are set. Tonight, I will be drinking this. It's a Trader Joe's. That's what it says. But if you look at the top.
Oh, we got the first ball coming out.
I got it, Peru. Unibrow. This is
so lackluster there, Derek. Yeah, whatever. It's Peru. Hey, I'm drinking a beer, guys.
It's more important than Group A. Let's just put it that way.
Peru.
Now, Group C, what I care about.
There goes our group, our Disneyland group that we made. Out the window now.
Did we pick Peru out of our
Disneyland one? I think so.
The dice that we
rolled. No, that wasn't
rolled?
dice. No, that was Disneyland.
Oh, I want to see how close to our dice roll gets. I think we had Ecuador in our dice roll.
Ecuador.
Who do we got? Let's see who we got.
It's Uruguay or
it's going to be Uruguay. It's going to be Uruguay.
Panama?
Bam!
Could it be
Panama? Is Uruguay, motherfuckers. All right.
I'm a little behind, so
that makes our group tough already. Wow, we got.
You know what? I'm fine with that. I'm fine with having some actual competition here.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind.
We've also, I think Greg's tied Uruguay twice.
So Colombia goes into the group with Brazil. That's interesting.
Colombia.
So this beer, by the way, is a mix of La Fin du Mal by Unibrow and their Double together in one bottle. And yeah, it's called a dark ale brewed with spices. And I'm trying to find the alcohol by it's 9%. And boy, it's a big boy bottle tonight, Brett. I'm gonna get lubed up tonight. And I don't mean Vaseline. All right, so Chile drops into the group with Argentina and Peru into Group A. Let's see who Mexico's gonna pick. It's gonna be blamed on Campos because he's the one drawing the balls. Those are some big balls too this year in those jars. I don't even let Campos open it. He's got to hand it to this ball-headed prick to open.
He's like, any moment
Venezuela.
Now. Anytime.
So who's our bald friend on ESPN FC? The Venezuelan. I just forgot his name. Shit. ESPN FC, bald guy. He'll be happy with that. Panama gets drawn into. This is a Panama team that's playing pretty good right now. So now you got Panama, Uruguay, and Estados Unidos in Group C. Could be interesting. Panama could give us a fight. They're probably not going to sit back in a low block. They'll probably play a mid block. Uruguay's going after our nutsack either way. Paraguay gets drawn into Group D. Man, Group D's for Brazil so far looks pretty favorable. Like you'd rather have Colombia than Uruguay in your group, and you'd rather have Paraguay than, let's say, well, Chile or Venezuela probably. Paraguay seems to be like on their kind of in one of their worst cycles of players.
I don't know of that quad. I mean, I feel like we may have. I mean, I'm not dismissing Panama by any means, but we're familiar with them, and I think we got off lucky on that one.
I don't think so. I think Panama's playing some of the best ball they have played.
I'm not discrediting
20
them.
years.
I'm just saying that we know who they are.
Do we? It's a whole new generation of Panamanian players.
You think over the course of the last year we had a complete overhaul of the team?
Not a complete overhaul.
Berhalter just got done playing with them in the.
We'll have, but I don't know. Does the fact that we really know the Trinidad and Tobago team so well help us?
CONCACAF 5. I love the fact that it says that.
That'll probably be the winner of the two.
Well, TNT figured out how to play us same way. I mean, as any weaker side plays us. You just sit back. We have no option. Creativity under Berhalter.
Bolivia goes into Group B with Mexico, Ecuador, and Venezuela. Nobody was able to tell us who the ESPN FC Venezuela guy. Venezuela! The guy on ESPN FC. Jesus Christ, why can't I remember his name? And then we get Jamaica. Holy crap. All right, so we got 2 teams, CONCACAF teams in our group. Jamaica on paper is a quality fucking team. On paper.
We Larry's going to love that, by the way. We were bound to always
Whoa. No, Jamaica went over to Group D because we are, So now
that's right.
We're going to get CONCACAF 4.
So that's how they do it, huh?
Yeah, that could be Canada.
Yeah, wait a second.
That could be Canada. Who's
wait? Wait a second. Why does that matter? We were guaranteed to get one if it's Jamaica or Canada or
I don't know.
Or Trinidad. It could be Trinidad and Tobago again.
Why did they flip flop that over?
That doesn't make any sense. What?
It's going to be CONCACAF irregardless. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
That makes no sense.
Okay, whatever. Maybe somebody can explain in the chat, but all right, let's write this down. So we have gotten our group.
Well, everybody's saying that we're getting Bolivia. They just probably made the move right now to avoid that issue.
What?
So we got Bolivia, so that way we don't have 3 CONCACAF teams in one group.
Oh, so they flipped it around again. I have the sound off, so
I saw everybody mentioning in the chat, and then I'm seconds behind you and all, but I could see it in the background. Like all of a sudden, I see like the graphics change.
God damn! Why don't they fucking zoom in a little closer, you cunts, so we can see the names on the board?
I've got a better idea. Why not make one pot only CONCACAF and one pot only Golden Bowl at that point?
Well,
so you still have a mix, I guess.
It's seeding. Seeding's the issue.
Well, that's stupid then in that sense. I mean, it still is pretty much like that anyways, but I guess it's kind of forced this way. Never mind. I take it all back. Makes sense, I guess.
Hey, at least we don't have to play Bolivia in La Paz, all right? On the top of the fucking mountain.
Sure enough.
So, yeah, I mean, we should beat Bolivia. It's the Uruguay and Panama games that will be the fight. We should beat Panama, but at this point, our CONCACAF mates play us better sometimes than teams that don't know us very well. Because they know our weaknesses because they play against us all the time.
Nope, that 100% agree. That's a very true fact. Although, would Bolivia necessarily press on the attack against us, do you think?
You know, I have to look into how they're playing currently.
Yeah.
But Bolivia is certainly one of the lower level teams in CONMEBOL. I guess they're even worse than Paraguay based on the seeding. I know that they've had good teams in the past, but this certainly doesn't seem to be one of them. I think they're lesser than Paraguay, then that's pretty good for us. We should beat them.
I can't go back on live TV. I can't go back on live TV. That makes no sense.
Let's say you lose to Uruguay, and then you got to, and then you tie Panama. That makes that last game pretty important. I don't know the order of the games yet.
Sure, yeah.
But, if you end it with Uruguay as your last game.
Oh, Group B lost somebody there. What's happening now? Is something else happening? I'm a few seconds behind, so.
Okay, they just put it up. Mexico, Ecuador, Jamaica, and Venezuela on Group B. And so, the CONCACAF 5 and 6 got flip-flopped to A and D just to make sure there aren't too many.
Bastards.
Because look at Group A. It's Argentina, Peru, Chile, and probably whoever comes out of what? Who are the playoff teams? You got Trinidad, Canada,
and then
Costa Rica.
And Honduras.
So that could be Honduras and Canada. Right?
How bad would it have been if we had Trinidad in our group and we ended up losing to them again? At that point, USSF has to sack Berhalter, even if it wasn't his fault. I mean,
well, it's still
playing that game.
It's still his partially his fault.
Yeah.
Like if one or two guys are having a bad game, that's usually on the players. But the whole team has a bad game, that's usually on the coach. That's either a motivational problem, a tactics issue, a system problem, a lack of motivation problem, and that even if the players are unmotivated, that's horrible. That's definitely on the coach because that's his job to get them motivated. So I don't know how long Pete and Tack are going to talk about this.
Pete has a show starting at 8:30.
Well, fucking A. Well, listen, guys, if you want to go listen to about another half an hour about how this draw went and what it means, I guess go over
No.
there.
You guys
Stay
don't
here.
go. Stay here. Watch that later.
It's true. You can watch it later.
Yeah.
We've got other things to talk about. I don't know how you can go on and on and on about this because we knew who the group is. It's USA, it's Uruguay, it's Panama, and it's Bolivia. We got 2 games we really should win, but could be a test. Panama could be a test. And Uruguay, who's going to be a very serious test. Is it possible that we don't get out of the group? I suppose it's possible. You would have to lose probably to Panama. You need to take advantage of Bolivia and not do that. Come away with a tie or something, and then get your ass beat by Uruguay. And then you're out of the group. And let's hope that doesn't happen. Of course, we got people who want Berhalter to fail so we can get rid of him. And I understand the sentiment, but I just can't root against the U.S. players.
It's going to be funny to look at our analytics later after the show's over and see exactly when the draw stops and all of our people come over from Tax Show over here. The 80, 90 to 100 people that consistently watch our show week in, week out.
Well, maybe we just start the show anyhow. Fuck it.
We'll just start normal. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you really have anything else to add to the draw? We covered.
No.
Everybody covered the Copa before the draw even started, like weeks before. We've talked about the team. Everybody's talked about the teams. You know, we've talked about the only interesting aspect of that entire draw was to see who we're going to get. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, you have 5 minutes of explaining. Well, we got to do this, this, and this. Done.
Right. Exactly.
The only thing we're in Group C. So who are the 2 top teams in Group D? It was Brazil and
I don't know. I just wrote down our group. Why? What does it matter?
So first place C plays second place D, and second place C plays first place D.
Well,
so we could play Brazil immediately out of the group, or we could play whoever else. But we're still going to be playing Brazil before the finals, assuming we go there.
Right. We are in Brazil.
Colombia.
So either way,
Brazil and Colombia. Those will be our competitions if we move on.
Yeah, we should be. I mean, be very competitive. I mean, on paper, we should be very competitive against Colombia if they're our next round. If we get out of the group, first things first. Like everybody, don't sleep on Panama. We just got beat by Trinidad and Tobago. You can't sleep on Panama. You can't even sleep on Bolivia, and they're horrible. That is the dumbest fucking mascot ever. What is that?
I closed it out. Once that final ball was drawn, I didn't care anymore.
It has a red head. It can't be an eagle. Are there eagles with red heads? I know woodpeckers have red. Hawks can be red.
Parrots could have red head.
Yeah, but it's not a parrot. It's not a parrot. By the way, I get this. I would say this beer is, while potable, it's really not even as good as the Taxman's Maple Quad. I would actually say it's better than this beer, and that's sacrilege because this is Unibrow. This is the guys who make Le Fin de Mall. This should be an amazing. This fucking beer should be blowing my dick off, but it's not even coming close.
I feel like you're putting it in the wrong area of your body if you want to blow your dick off.
You're getting too literal, Brett. You know I'm a metaphoric master. It's what I do around here. All right. Yeah. I do have to say before we move on that it was Tamale Killer who put in the chat or somewhere, Derek, you have to drink St. Bernardus. I have actually drank St. Bernardus on this show before. So if you missed it, I can't tell you what episode it was. I have no fucking clue what episode it was, but I have drank a St. Bernardus on this show. I don't remember what the number was. I don't know if it was an 8 or a 10 or a 12 or whatever it was, but I had them. I've had a multiple St. Bernardus on this show, and it's a good beer. Also, someone said, "Hey, don't poop on Cameron. He played 6 seasons in the EPL." Yes, he did.
Yep, and carried over to Twitter too. People were calling that out as well.
Yeah, I wasn't denigrating Cameron, but he did end up playing a lot at the end of his career in the championship, and he never really got to play on a good team. They always struggled. Wherever he went, it was a struggle to stay up. You don't really want to be on teams like that. So that's why Trusty's career doesn't want to bend towards that way. You don't always play on the worst team in the EPL or near the worst team.
This is a scenario where I think you're being a little too literal from what I said initially, because I said maybe he has a Cameron-esque trajectory in the sense of where he's played, not necessarily who he's playing with.
Well,
I'm not sitting there going like, "Oh, please, God, I hope Richards is as good as Cameron and plays for the exact same teams." Please.
Okay, Richards will be better than Cameron. All right, but we don't want him to be on a team that year after year struggling just to stay up. And that's where he is right now. With Crystal Palace, even though we know the bottom of the EPL table is Stink City, and they shouldn't really be struggling to stay up because the bottom 3 are so bad.
Yeah.
But hey, you don't want to be near the bottom and even taste that. So
if he continues his kicking ass approach at the 6, maybe he'll pull a Maloney, go from center back to 6 for the team.
Well, right now he's only there because of injury, Chris Richards. But if he makes a case for himself, which he didn't look out of place this midweek playing for Crystal Palace, he did not look out of place. I think I texted you that. He just looked out of place. But he's not.
Well, Bielmar goes, "Wow, apparently they made a mistake. What's the mistake now? Jamaica's in Group B." Yeah, that's where it ended up at.
Yeah. No, I don't know if that's a mistake. They just had to flip around. They explained the rules earlier, but then they kind of flip-flopped shit around in a way that didn't make sense, and then they got it right. So
that's I think Group B has Mexico, Ecuador, Venezuela, and Jamaica.
Jamaica's got a good shot to get out of that group.
I'm just saying, though, is there any other group that's more of a toss-up than that? I'm not saying it's weak by any means. I'm just saying, is there any more of a toss-up group?
I mean, the way Venezuela's been playing lately, too.
That's what I'm saying.
Still no one in the chat can tell me who the motherfucker's name.
There's a gray parrot. I've got it pulled up for like an hour now. Someone said that it's a Kansas City Jayhawk.
No. Not that.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Who the guy is?
It was a bald eagle with American colors.
The bald-headed guy on ESPN FC.
Oh, fuck's sake. Can you make me go back?
God, he used to play at DC United. He played at Chivas USA.
Moreno?
Thank you. Holy
Alejandro
fuck.
Moreno?
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name. It was just killing me.
I couldn't think of a Venezuelan, but you started mentioning the team, and it really stuck to me there. I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely Venezuelan. Okay, Group A could end up with Canada or Trinidad. That's going to be Canada. So it's Argentina, Peru, Chile, Canada.
Hey, don't count out Trinidad and Tobago.
I am. Group D, Brazil, Colombia, Paraguay, Costa Rica, or Honduras. That's going to be Honduras the way Costa Rica's playing. And so Brazil's got Colombia, Paraguay, and Honduras. They'll be fine. Nobody's going to challenge them there. Maybe Colombia a little bit, but Paraguay's awful. And Honduras, I don't know. We'll see. But Canada, Chile, Peru, Argentina, Canada is fried. They are dead. They're going to go out 0-0-3. Mark it on your calendar.
That's on par with their current trajectory anyway, so.
They're going to lose to Argentina. They're going to lose to Peru probably and lose to Chile. Oh, but they're going to probably play at home or somewhere near home, right?
I don't know if any of those teams really care about the home field advantage.
Well, you could get a lot of Canadians in the stadium. They're just
Are
north
they
of
gonna
the
throw
border
Maple
here.
Leaves at them?
Doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter because you might get the crowd. That might
I'm
help.
just saying, all three of those teams go into harsher environments on a yearly basis within their own federation. So I don't think a couple thousand Canucks are really going to make that much of a difference when persuading the other team. Maybe it's going to make Canadians play better. But then again, look at how they've been playing recently. Regardless,
They're still going to lose all three of those games, I
Yeah.
think. So here's the schedule for us. It's going to be Bolivia first, which we should win. Then Panama, which we should win, but could be a tie. Then Uruguay, which could be a loss.
that's probably got to be like the best lineup for us, right?
I
Those
guess.
games?
Do you really want to play Uruguay last in the group? Because if you do that, that could be a must win depending on how you played against Panama.
Well, I mean, it depends on where Uruguay's at the point. I mean, maybe they have 6 points and they're already qualified.
You should be, if the win against Bolivia and a tie against Panama should do it. That should do it. So you're right.
I'm just saying.
You go into the Uruguay game.
We're not going to go in. We're not going into the last game. Oh my God, we need hopefully we don't go into the last game needing a result after the first two games because that's how we want to line up. Arguably the weakest, followed by a team that knows us. And then I guess I really shouldn't be saying Bolivia's the weakest. I have no idea how they're playing right now and how they would compare to us. So
they always play well at home. That's why they're always in the thick of things in Cannonball, because going to La Paz is a bitch. You cannot breathe, or it could be mental, but I don't think it's just mental. It's just hard to breathe there.
Larry says the group is soft, and Larry, when Jamaica was initially drawn into our group,
I was
said,
like,
well, Larry's going to like this one.
I thought, but then, it got better.
Everybody's saying the same thing. I had the right opinion, I guess, but I haven't sat down and really watched them play. So
no, he's right. Bolivia suck outside of La Paz. They simply are not a good team, and they are going to be out of their element here in the United States of America.
Unless we play in Colorado.
No, we wouldn't do that. We're not that stupid. Although, I mean, after watching this show, which was obviously put together by CONCACAF and Cannonball, you think, God, the people running those two organizations must be so out of touch with what fans want, because that was just overly happy. What's that? What's the word for being overly happy?
I'm not going to say the word you're wanting me to say, I'm sure.
Yeah. It was overly happy. It was childish. It was childish. It was made for children. Like bringing the mascot up. Like, what are we, fucking 8 years old here watching this shit? Just show us a picture of it and let's get on with it.
Here, Alex Craven says giddy.
I don't know why the word gay is banned. Being gay and happy is a word.
But
it's a word.
You prefaced it, you built it up, and you're like, hey, no, this isn't talking about the sexuality. It's talking about how you feel.
Dude, I am so pro-gay. I don't even want to get into it here. I love gay people. I have tons of gay friends.
People?
But it's still a word that you can use in everyday conversation if it actually is what this is, which is overly happy bullshit. And it's nauseating to watch. Like, are we children here? We can't have a grown-up drawing of the balls? If you're going to be having a show where you're touching a bunch of balls, it should be a grown-up show, I think.
Well,
it's what they do in porn.
Larry wants to know what happened. Larry, what happened is we initially got drawn in pot 4 with Jamaica.
Is that what he's asking?
Yes, because I mentioned how like Larry's going to like this, and he's like, what happened? So what happened is that we initially got drawn with Jamaica, but we already had Panama in our group, and you can't have they want to kind of split it half and half.
Yeah, but they can't have more than 3 from any conference or any federation in one group.
They switched Jamaica over to Group D, and we got another CONCACAF group, which was really fucking stupid. And then all of a sudden we got Bolivia, and then Jamaica ends up in Group B. I don't know what happened there at the end. That was like really weird sort of shuffling of hands there,
especially since
who's going to be where.
Especially since especially since Group 1 and Group 2 of the playoffs are also both CONCACAF teams.
CONCACAF, they're all CONCACAF, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Oh, well, okay.
I mean, the only way that there was ever going to be three CONCACAF teams would have been our group, because we got Panama in the one pot that had a CONCACAF team in it. The rest of the CONCACAF teams were all in pot 4. There should never have been a flipping around as much as we saw.
No, because they replaced Jamaica with another CONCACAF team.
Yeah, that's so weird.
It makes no fucking
sense.
No sense. Absolutely zero sense.
Yeah, all the blind ball pickers, Larry, were actually were able to see. So yeah, it was absolutely rigged. It was so strange.
It seemed confused rather than rigged.
Well, I mean, at that point, once we drew Panama, pot 4, we should have gotten Bolivia from the get-go. That should have been like the rigged in sense in that we would have automatically gotten it, because that would have been the only way that we could have 3 CONCACAF teams in one group.
Oh, they're showing deaths blow up here again.
I was going to mention this earlier when we were talking about what we were talking about. Maybe this is even before the show maybe even started. We were talking about we're talking about coaching and stuff. But I was going to mention how Dest, when he went back to PSV, every time you saw him, he always had a smile on his face playing the game. He always enjoyed himself. But man,
he looked great today.
Playing in that window against Trinidad and Tobago, I don't recall seeing a smile on his face.
No,
ever.
No.
I'm not saying that's necessarily a Berhalter issue. Maybe that was just Trinidad and Tobago were being a bunch of bitches to him.
I don't think so.
They played him. I thought they played him. So
just don't think he wants to be there. I can't believe I have to watch Stu the Stooge.
You don't have to. And
fucking Lawless on the same fucking platform here. No, I can't hear them. I can't hear what they're saying. Back to the Dest thing. Dest played today along with Tillman. They both started for PSV. They both were fantastic. Both fantastic. Yeah. Tillman got an assist. Dest should have had a goal. I mean, he kind of dribbled through, and then Pepe should have had 2 goals. He got the one that was fantastic, kind of a breakaway goal. Sure. And then the second one was a tapper, and he missed the tapper. You can't miss a fucking tapper, dude. Oh, my God.
I don't know.
Anyhow,
he's got 7 goals in all comps right now.
Crowd went nuts. They love this kid. Even De Jong was like, yeah. Like De Jong was on the sideline. They showed him going, hell yeah.
It was so funny. I mean, I know you don't necessarily frequent the Twitter as often as I do in that sense, but when he after Monday's show, we talked about how he went and played for their second team, PSV Young or whatever, and he didn't score. Nobody scored. It was a 5-0 loss, and it looked pretty bad. And all of the Mexico fans on Twitter came out laughing their asses off, saying like, "Oh, you can't even score against a second division team." Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, bam, he's on for a minute. Scores against a first division team. Suck a dick.
Suck a dick and have the fucking cum get in your eye, you Peckerwoods. It's kind of though. I did more frequent the X yesterday,
yeah,
and there was some guy on there, and I was very nice to him. But he said,
I may have to start looking at your timeline to see who you're talking to.
He's like, Dest just isn't good enough for the U.S. men's national team. And I said, okay, have you been watching him play at PSV this season? Of course he hasn't. Of course he hasn't. Of course he has not. He has no fucking clue what he's talking about. He's been, for PSV, he's been quite solid. If not one of the best backs in the Eredivisie. It's like, he's not good enough? So compared to whom? Compared to what? Like, Scally can't bring us that sort of offensive ability out wide. Is Scally a better defender? Most of the time. But anyhow, I mean, the people out there are living in a goddamn fucking dream world. Yeah, he didn't make it at Barcelona. Lots of players don't make it at Barcelona. But that was mostly his mentality. All the coaches have said so. It's in his head. And he's got to get out of his head. And he's even said so. that he's been in his own head, and his mentality hasn't been right. So yeah, the AC Milan loan, that was shit too. But look what he is doing now with a coach that believes him, plays him every fucking game. And I was just polite to this dude. It's like, hey, you might want to watch some matches, some PSV matches.
Well,
They're all on fucking ESPN. They're all available.
Yeah.
Go watch them.
And I mean, seriously, the argument is false anyways, because you just have to watch him with the United States national team. I mean, yes, he has some faults. I would say his 1v1 defending has improved over time with the United States national team, but when it's him and Way and McKinney all on that right hand side, that's a dynamic trio right there.
Yeah,
and they play well together.
Great.
They know exactly what they're doing. They know where they're going, and they look great together. But you start throwing some different cogs in the wheel, and all of a sudden it's like, wait, what happened here?
Yeah.
But even then, this last window wasn't bad, except for the fact that he lost his head for a couple minutes and did something incredibly stupid.
It's probably the most stupid thing I've ever seen an American player do in a U.S. men's national team uniform, honestly. And I've been watching the game for a long time. Never seen a guy do that before. So, yeah, that's got to be cleaned up. Can never happen again.
And I said it wouldn't happen. I go, this was the dumbest red card I've ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dumbest. I mean,
yeah.
Doing something purposely, like going over and karate kicking a fan in the stands. That's pretty dumb, but that was on purpose.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what, the 90s? That happened in the 90s with well, no, it's the French guy too.
It wasn't Keane.
Manchester United.
Wasn't Keane, you're right? Yeah.
Oh no, the legend. Oh fuck! Why my brain's such a fucking piece of shit? I can't remember anything.
As you're drinking the booze,
they're about to interview Daffy Duck. Greg Berhalter is about to be interviewed here. I'm gonna just turn this up for a second.
Was Eric?
Thank you. Yes, it was Eric.
Yeah, mixing people at my end, but yeah, just absolute doing something on purpose and getting a red card. Okay, that's dumb. But what happened with that is beyond all that. He got a yellow card, and then he ran his mouth off. Literally, second yellow. So stupid, so dumb. But that shouldn't prevent him from being a contender for the national team. Anybody who's saying otherwise, Derek, that's really distracting. I'm talking. I've got whoever Berhalter and Lawless in my ear. I'm just like, oh my god.
It's just Berhalter, and it's platitudes. It's platitudes. So I didn't expect to get anything real interesting. I tell you what is interesting, which you can watch later, all of you. But you don't have to watch it later. No, you should, because Pete needs the hits. But or wants the hits.
We're sitting at 47 people in our chat right now, and he's got 935 watches the show. I'm not sure if he needs the hits.
No. This show's not. It's not live. It's his, his interview with Ramos, which we'll cover.
Current 5 hours ago, currently sitting at 7:06. Yeah, I feel like that's just a slow night.
Hey, you want to put out a tweet letting people know that we're live?
I mean, yeah, but people should know we're live.
I mean, I don't know. A lot of people will assume that if Pete and Tact are on, that we're not. It's kind of how it works. I should go through this midweek though while you're doing that, Brett. We can get that done, right?
I said, "Yo, we live despite Tactical and Pete's stomping on our time."
Right. Did you at them?
I definitely added them, yes.
And smiley facing.
Nope, yeah. I added 3 exclamation points.
Okay. It's like, how long do you need to cover this?
Yeah, WTF, mate.
That shit's done. All right. So I do want to talk about Anthony Robinson continuing to be amazing in their 5-0 win versus Nottingham Forest. I will say this.
Perfect timing. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Vlachodimos, people are going to say, okay, and even I said it, can we have Matt back? But if you watch those goals, 4 of the 5 of them were not his fault. 4 of the 5 goals. So I don't know if that's going to be enough to get Matt Turner another shot. I'm hoping it is. because that's an embarrassing loss for Cooper. And Cooper's got to start worrying about his job at this point. So maybe you do make that change back to the guy who your team performed better.
I've got some stats pulled up.
Oh, go for it. Let's do it. Turner's versus Vlachodimos.
Vlachodimos, yeah, played 5 games. He's conceded 12 goals. Now, to your point, not all goals are the goalkeeper's faults.
Correct.
And I say the same thing when we talk about Slovenina every week. I'm like, how many were actually his fault? But
save percentage would be something we'd need to look at.
Would probably have to look at something like that. But per match, there's 2.4 goals. Top 7 clubs played 1. Matt Turner's played 11, conceded 16 goals. So that's 1.45 goals per match, which is 1 goal less a match difference. And he's played 4 top 7 teams. Four top 7 teams.
Yeah, I don't think any of these stats help or make an argument. But I think you need to see things like expected goals or save percentage.
Could be indicating that Forrest, the goalkeeper, was never the problem for Forrest, though.
Right.
Not saying one is better than the other in this situation, but I'm just saying like they're still leaking goals regardless of who's in between the pipes.
And they brought Vlachodimos because he's better with his feet. I haven't really noticed that. I know what he's not better than Matt is, commanding the box. He's not better at commanding the box.
Who isn't?
Vlachodimos. Turner's more aggressive. He clears the set pieces better. He's better on corner kicks, still set pieces, but I just don't see that with Vlachodimos. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think there's a chance we could see Turner back. Hey guys, do you think the U.S. men's national team, despite the USSF, has a bright future or not really?
Sure, I think so.
I think so, and we'll get into some of the players. Later in the show. We're
gonna the sport itself, and I'm gonna use this as a frame of reference. Being here in rural Indiana, every year working in a school district, I am seeing more and more kids wearing soccer jerseys. Insert mainly Euro players, not necessarily of American players, but the interest is there. And it's growing even here in the rural sectors of flyover country, if you will.
Can you really call Noblesville rural anymore?
Fishers. It is Fishers. And your point is even more.
It's kind of not rural anymore, dude.
There's still cornfields here, man. It's still rural.
Not many. I mean, my parents lived there too, and I'm telling you, it ain't rural anymore. That is just what they call a...
You're referring to a time period over the last 10 years. Of it changing, and it is vastly changing. Yes, it is becoming basically a suburb.
It's suburbs
at this point of the greater Indianapolis area.
Yeah, you own goats and chickens, right? No, you live in a suburb, Brett, in a large goddamn 3-story house. So please don't even tell me about suburbs.
Hey, you can have a 3-story house has nothing to do with anywhere. You can have a 3-story house anywhere.
Yeah, right. Okay.
My neighborhood is surrounded by golf courses and
literally surrounded by a golf course.
Yeah, golf course and cornfields. That's all it is around here.
All right.
And yes, let's say Fisher's less so, but Noblesville is still listed as kind of rural-esque.
Dude, all that was fucking when my parents moved there when I was 20 years old, 19. And I would go and visit them there. That was all cornfields.
Dude, I know. I ventured many a time into Noblesville when I was in my ute. And yes.
But now it's suburbs and golf courses, baby. All right.
Brad says Brett's a 1%er.
I don't know if he's a 1%er.
My bank account says otherwise, guys. I'm playing the long game, okay?
I don't know what Evie's doing, but she's doing something good.
Ouch.
I mean, between the two of you, you guys bring in the dough. That's all that counts.
You just alluded that my wife is the
breadwinner.
Massive. She is a breadwinner because I do work for the fucking state. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, no. Hey, I'm all for her making $1 bajillion and me making 20,000. I'm fine with that. I'd be fine with that.
That's why she's the one texting you saying, "Hey, make me a drink, bitch, and bring it up." I was
quick. Like, "Yes, absolutely.
I'll bring it up right away, ma'am.
Give me 5 seconds. I'll be right there."
Just keep bringing in that dough. All right. Austin Trusty went another 88 and a loss. They only pulled him because they were losing and they wanted to put in an offensive player and go to a back four. But listen, at least he's playing and he's learning. That's all that matters with Austin Trusty at this point. Mihailovic was gone back to his old role, Brett. Mihailovic is back to bench.
After
in the
2
18.
games of solid performances. And
we're getting near the window, the transfer window. So, yeah, they want to put him out in the window for people to look at. And so maybe
are they hoping for
sell
some
him.
other Euro interest or something? Because, I mean, if he's going back to Chicago, I mean, him being played isn't going to affect shit.
They spend a shitload of money on that kid, dude. And
I'm just saying, if he's going back, if he's going to MLS, back to Chicago, him playing 2 games, 3 games here before the window isn't going to mean shit.
Yeah.
Now, unless they're
probably
buying
right.
for some Euro interest, maybe they can get a couple extra million here or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You bring him off the bench to play a good 30 minutes, then you start him, and now he's back to not playing at all. It is a little queer. And when I say that, I don't mean it in the same way I don't mean the word gay being that. I'm not talking
Like
about
you still do it, look around and
sexuality
air
is
quoted without air quoting it there.
well, I'm sorry. The word queer meant something else before it meant that. Again, I
Words
just
used to mean something. I agree.
being a wordsmith, being an English major, I just hate when you use a word in public and you're like, oh shit, yeah, I can't use that word anymore. And you're like,
That's Derek's canceled.
because that word meant something else before it
Chris
meant
Perry wants
that.
to know if you know another word for a cigarette.
Yes, I do, but I'm not going to say it. And it's only in English.
What about a bundle of sticks?
Yes, that too. I'm all for the queer and gay community. Just want to say that. All right. Not because I have to, because I am. All right. Not because I am one, just because I am. All right.
It's a lot of backpedaling here, Derek. Come on.
All right. Paxton Aronson in the 18, and this was a Pokal Cup game. So you're like, oh, Paxton. I'm like, oh, he'll get some playing time. Nada. And then his team went on to lose to 3 Bundesliga teams. Saarbrücken 2-0. Frankfurt are playing like dog shit right now. So, he might get more chances because when he's not playing, they play like dog shit. And when he is playing, they're playing like dog shit. So the coach is like, what do I do? So anyhow, God, they're going to do Alexis holiday wish lists on this shit. Are you fucking
Hopefully somebody was asking for his Lawless' starting 11, for the love of God. BMR says, Derek, are you trying to share something important with us?
No, not really. No.
Did Derek just put himself? Out himself, I'm assuming he's meant to say.
No. I'm not gay. Nope, I'm not. And that's okay. That's okay. If you are, that's
Lefty
okay.
wants to know if the sex doll is a male.
Yes, it's a female. It's a female. No penis. Sorry. All right. What's this? Holiday Alexis holiday wish list competition. No drama is second. No drama. That's his second on his wish list. No drama.
Has he seen his timeline on X?
Like,
I mean,
that's what he does. He creates drama.
Well, here's the thing with Lawless. It's funny because he's been on a kick with the whole political sphere going up right now. With,
I saw that.
All the debates going on, and he's casually going in there and saying, "Hey, can't wait to watch the debates tonight. I think this person did this and this person did that." And then his entire comment section is people bitching him out. You fucking Trump rightist, you're far right, blah, blah, fuck off.
Is he? Who did he say was the best in the debate?
I don't know if he watched the most recent one. He watched the DeSantis and Newsom debate.
Oh, okay.
And he's always been a very vocal DeSantis supporter for the last year and a half. Now, I don't know if he still is or not, but I don't care. That's the thing. I don't care about that. I mean, I want to hear his soccer takes because I can either laugh at it or agree with it for that matter. But
there's a huge chunk of Californians that think Gavin Newsom's a big piece of dung. So I didn't.
That too,
I only watched chunks of that on YouTube. so I didn't watch the whole thing. But I did watch where DeSantis pulls up the poo map. Here's all the poop
I saw that too.
in San
Yeah.
Francisco. That's the only part I saw.
That's a fair argument too, but that's a 4x4 square mile of all of California, right?
California, one of the most wonderful, San Francisco, one of the most wonderful cities in the world, is now a poo center. And they yelled up the map of all the poop on the map.
Yeah, it was the 4x4 square mile of what is San Francisco was just a shade of brown. That's all it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like the dot. It was just like brown.
You know what? Getting involved in politics is a futile thing to do. It's like saying, oh, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican. Those things are meaningless. It's all one big mega fucking party at this point. So you have to find individuals you can support inside of either one of those two parties that aren't establishment hacks. And that's the hard part. Good luck on that.
Well, Chris Gary has a great political question for you, Derek.
Let's get political. Hey, Derek, what are your thoughts on midget porn? I have seen the classic one. What's that? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs back in the 70s and 80s.
I mean, that was a kid's cartoon, but
no. This is the porn version. I have seen that.
Snow White does Seven Dwarfs, maybe.
Well, she does eventually. She does a lot of other people first, but she does do the dwarves. And I saw that back in the 90s on VHS or something. So I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of midget porn. I don't have any problem with it. They're grown adults. They just have a different body equilibrium than we do. See how nicely I put that?
Yeah.
All right.
As we saw with Vern, I mean, he was a tripod, remember?
Who?
Vern from Austin Powers.
Oh,
Mini-Me. Vern Troyer. There you go.
You would have done better just saying Mini-Me. I don't know Vern Troyer from A Hole in the Wall.
The entire second movie was him talking to Austin Powers about being a tripod. He's like leaning over.
I don't know. All right, I don't remember that, but I do love that movie. All right, Reina did not dress. Apparently, he was all set up to play this Pokal game, and then he got that rash on his nutsack. I hope he doesn't sue me for that because I put that on Twitter. I said they had to pull Reina because he had a massive rash on his nutsack. So
one would say it's defamation, but we're not necessarily. I don't think we're considered public figures. I know he's considered a public figure, and you can say just about anything you want as long as it doesn't damage his earnings. And I don't think a rash on his nutsack is going to hurt his earnings.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a joke. We know he was sick. We don't know the exact sickness. Cold, flu, whatever. I don't know. A rash on your nutsack.
Dortmund came out, and a representative of Dortmund said that he had the flu.
He had the flu. Okay.
I think the flu was. I'm signing a loan with somebody else right now.
Well, if they're going to sign a loan with somebody else and they want to get the best deal, they better start playing his ass.
Well, I'm just saying maybe he's already in the process of negotiation with said team.
Sack rash or not, he needs to play. Always the timing with Reina,
It's worse sometimes.
Pokal, gonna play in a Pokal game. No, he's not. And then McKenzie went 90 in a loss for Genk. Hey, here's Josh Winder, Marco Zambrano Delgado. Both play for Benfica's U21s. I bet people know about Josh Winder playing for Benfica's youth team. I wonder if they knew about this other American named Marco Zambrano Delgado, who did go 10 minutes for Benfica's youth team against Crystal Palace's youth team. And they lost. But this guy's been playing a lot. He's played 6 games. He's a center forward. He came from the Philadelphia Union Academy, did Marcos Zambrano Delgado, whereas Josh Winder did not dress. Now, I don't know what's going on with that. So we'll see. Although Winder has played 6 times for the youth Benfica team. So we'll see. He was born in Ecuador. He is indeed a dual nat. And I think he's even played for the Ecuador youth teams as well. He might have not, but he's certainly eligible to do so. But somebody else to keep an eye on that I have not heard a single person talk about. So except for, was that BMR who just flashed it on the screen?
Yeah.
BMR knows his shit. Let's just put it that way. CCV went 45 in a win. They were ahead so far, they just pulled him out. He got an assist. Polvara in the 18. Anybody hoping Dante Polvara has a hope of making the 2026 team, dream on. He's not a starter for this team. The only games he started were, as far as Aberdeen's the way they think about it, meaningless games in some Europa lower league fucking conference league bullshit games that they're not that interested. They're more interested in trying to fight in Scotland for the top 3 or 4 spots. Zambrano played for the U15s and the U17s. I know him because I'm Ecuadorian. Well, there you fucking go. A guy looking after his own. And that's what we do here. But he also has an American flag next to it. So we are keeping I am keeping an eye on it for sure. Richards, 90 and a loss, playing that CDM spot we already discussed.
We talking about this guy right here?
Okay. Roy Hodgson on Richards today. He's the best American center back. I know Tim Ream is a very good player, but he's at the latter end of his career, whereas Richards is just starting here. I tell you what, Roy Hodgson better watch his step. He's got plenty of leash, okay? But some of the shit he said after that recent loss were ridiculous, that the fans weren't supporting him enough. They needed to come out and be louder and whatever. Dude, Crystal Palace fans will come out and support you if you stop playing like garbage. That's what will happen. So, but I don't disagree with him here. I think Chris Richards has a high ceiling and possibly a great future.
It's funny to me though that he's like he's the best American center back. I know that doesn't mean that he's like the best center back on the team or anything like that.
But I'm going to play him at center defensive midfield. Yeah.
Or right back or whatever the fuck he's played at in this entire window or,
CDM
season.
CDM,
no, he's played recently, yes, but he also
3
played
times.
somewhere else. So.
He's played center back when the other guy was injured for a while. He's played 2 positions, center back and CDM.
I thought he played out like wide somewhere, like sit right back or something like that. But
he has before, but not for a long time.
Fair enough.
So, but yeah, I mean, listen, it's funny that you're calling one of the best American center backs, but I mean, you're putting him against, if you're talking about EPL guys, Ream and Trusty, because that's it. That's all he has to do to be better. And right now, Ream is a better center back than Chris Richards, in my opinion.
I think he's lumping him in the whole pot as a whole. I mean, he's the same. He's the best American center back because it can't be McKenzie because he's off playing in the Belgian league. Brooks has been benched recently and doesn't see any minutes at a national team because Berhalter hates his guts. Who else is there? It's not EPB who's propping his legs up and sitting the bench over in Greece.
Yeah, Panathinaikos, he has not played but one game. So.
Who else is it comparable to? I mean, at this point, it's got to be Richards.
Yeah, I don't know who else you got. And listen, here's the thing. McKenzie will always be a candidate as long as he's playing for Genk and playing consistently. But he's not making a screaming out loud argument for himself. First of all, the league in which he plays is not that strong. It's Belgium league. It's really no better than MLS. And second of all, it's not like Genk have been in the prior seasons where they're the top of the table. They're not the top of the table anymore. They're battling to stay near in the top 4 or 5. So this isn't the same Genk. And we're not seeing a clean sheet after clean sheet for Genk this season. We're seeing some messy shit. And he's part of the problem.
Yeah, what's weird to consider is that you have a guy who's been a consistent starter for Genk for like this season and last season, I guess. Prior to that, he was off and on every third game or whatever. But there hasn't been a slew of rumors going around of him possibly making a move to something that's better than Belgium at this point.
No, because you really have to be a dominant center back in the league. And he is, if you were to look down the list of center backs in the Belgian league, I'm not sure he makes the top 10. And that's where you got to be. So that's why he's also not making the U.S. Nats team. That's one thing I can't fault Greg for, because Greg's looking at a guy like Robinson, Miles, and saying, okay, yeah, he's not playing in Belgium right now, but he's still got this personality or that trait or this trait and this that just eyeball testing it is better than McKenzie. And that if Miles goes to Europe, he ain't going to Belgium. He's going to play at the championship at the least, because he's that good. Whereas could McKenzie step up to the championship? I'd like to see it first. I really like to see it. I do. I'm not sure. So there you go. Guest and Tillman and Pepe, we already talked about. Conrad went 70, by the way, for Ibar in the Copa del Rey.
There's a lot of talk about him playing for whatever nation he's qualified to play for, like Dominican.
Coliocho? Are we talking about Coliocho? No, because he's Italian.
Talking about Conrad.
What? Here, what do you guys think about English American players?
No. You're talking about Wilmer here. No, I had this pulled up to talk about in a second, but you were talking about Conrad, and I was talking about Conrad.
Yeah. Conrad's
qualified to play for one of the island nations of CONCACAF at this point. I forgot. Dominican Republic. Yes, thank you, Larry. He could play there. And people were asking, like, well, what do you think of the possibility that he might play for Dominican Republic? I'm like, well, I mean,
I don't care.
Wishing the best of luck at this point.
Yeah. All right. So
Wilmer's asking about the English American guy who he thinks is playing with Chelsea. He's no longer playing with Chelsea. I forgot his name already. He's over at Sevilla right now. He's playing with the U23s. Remember we talked about last show?
Oh, that fucking guy.
Declan something.
How much had he been playing? We researched it at the time. Declan, whatever.
I think he played a handful of games so far for the 23s.
He barely plays for the U23s, and he's 21? He's a grown man with hair on his balls, and he can't break into the fucking main team. Please. Yeah, Colioso got injured.
We'll talk about that now. He's out for a while.
He will be.
He's out for a while, which is the Josh Sargent treatment, who happens to be reporting for duty at schools. So he's going to some schools, talking about his career and doing the whole Roy Kent thing from Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
So, hey, you know what? Props him being out and about. Everybody enjoyed him being there. The funny thing is, going through the comment section here, all the Norwich fans, sorry.
Norwich.
All those fans are like, fuck you. I thought you meant that he was back out on the pitch.
Yeah, this is
it's
a bad teaser, really, to the fans. It's not something you should do. And I did hear, though, they asked him to also do a presentation for the whole school and the cafeteria on sex ed, which is good for him. Good for Josh, because there's one thing he knows, and that's making babies, baby. And
making babies, baby.
Yeah. So I'm sure it was a very great educational situation for him and all the children there. And also LD Luca De La Torre played 7 in the Copa del Rey game. Cardoso went 7. He's still coming back from that injury. Zendaya 74 with Club America. And he didn't score any of like the 4 goals they got. But all right, so that's what happened midweek. By the way, I don't know if we could get to this now. I don't know what you want to do next, but
do your favorite segment of the show.
Oh, okay. Well, let me get prepared. I am ready. Transfer news. Everybody loves that transfer news, but me. Was it off again?
It wasn't bad. Oh, we always miss that first transfer news because you're clicking on the unmute, and there's just a time lapse there. But yeah,
I tried to do a deeper background that time.
Yeah, I noticed. Josh Wynn says that Ethan Horvath has made it his ambition to transfer during the winter market. The 28-year-old has spoken to Greg Berhalter about his need for minutes. There are 2 MLS sides that have held interest in the Nottingham Forest keeper since September.
And those are
U.S. Men's National Team. 2
Atlanta, and somebody else, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, is Guzan retiring?
It's not going to be Atlanta. I know everybody shits on Guzan, but he ain't leaving, and they're happy.
He'll ride that pay piggy out until it's done. I mean,
they're happy with him.
Why would you leave? Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's not going to be a loan to MLS. It could be, I guess, but why would you loan him for half? Why would you loan him until the summer window? I would imagine that this is going to be a purchase, which he can't be going for that much. He's a third option at Nottingham Forest. Fourth option at Nottingham Forest at this point.
Now with what's his face back, yeah.
So I'm sure he's looking for a move to finish out his career. I mean, I know he's only 28 years old, and keepers can last a lot longer than that, of course.
Hell yeah.
But I mean, I bet you he's looking for a move for consistency at this point, and that's going to be MLS. So
he could have a decade left in his career.
Good.
So it's going to be So we'll see what happens.
That BMR brings up a great point. New England is might be losing their goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where he ends up. I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as he plays and starts.
BMR also brings up another great point. Rapids, he is from Colorado, apparently.
Yeah, that doesn't always mean anything. But do the Rapids need a keeper? Would be the question.
Speaking of former U.S. goalkeepers who are in limbo right now that are looking for options to play. Stefan.
Breaking Colorado Rapids are in advanced talks, potential deal to sign the U.S. men's national team goalkeeper Zach Stefan from Manchester City, per sources. No deal is done, complicated, but progressing to be determined. Stefan, 28, been with City since 2019, would be a huge get for Colorado. So that's how I imagine Tom Bogart talks.
Yeah. I kind of want to go for like a 1920s Chicago like gangster type of.
Yeah. Breaking news. Colorado Rapids.
Tom Bogart here.
In advance talk. So potential deal.
I feel like you're a little closer than I am, but.
Now that you bring it up, I'll like that. All right.
So now we have Stefan and we have Horvath potentially coming to MLS. I mean, Stefan will be coming back, but I don't think Horvath has played in MLS, so he'll be coming too. I don't know. What do you think about that depth? If they come back here, are they on par with like the Calendars and Celentanos at that point?
You know what it is, Brett? It's a big this. Because there was a time we had Casey Keller. We had Brad Friedel. We had Tim Howard. We had Marcus Hanneman.
Yep.
We got goalkeeper now.
Now what do we have? We're going to have Turner as a backup, hopefully soon to become starter again. And then we got Gaga Slonina. That's legitimately unless you branch off into our youth sector.
I mean, you got Gaga Slonina getting his ass raped at Eupen.
It's all educational, just like naked.
It's all educational, like most ass raping. All right.
How to lube up properly to not make it hurt.
Exactly. Lube up, please. Thank you. Yeah. So, it's unfortunate. Goalkeeper has to be one of our weakest positions, but it is right now. As far as having a rock hard, solid, erect keeper who we know we can depend on when the film is just getting hot, right? The movie's just getting started, and you need a good opening scene. All right. Oh, Jesus, not this again.
Speaking of rock hard, this came up the whole Miazga allegedly kicking Berhalter's dog.
Dressed as
I said allegedly it was horrific, and you're like, who knew Matt liked to dress up as a biker? And I said, quite common at the Blue Oyster. And you go, does EB know about this? And I said, a friend told me that.
Yeah.
My phone was hacked. Account deactivated. And guess what happens when you say my phone was hacked?
What?
You get pegged.
I get pegged.
I don't want to get
pegged
with a bunch of spam bots talking about how you can get your account back.
Oh my God.
Like the only thing I'm missing here is throwing out OnlyFans and really seeing my notifications take off.
Wow. That's crazy.
Good Lord.
God.
A throwaway comment while
City.
I'm waiting at a red light, like, oh, my phone was hacked, and all of a sudden,
Bot City, baby.
Yeah.
Bot City. All right.
oh my goodness.
Put Chandler at keeper. Larry, you put him anywhere. Probably behind you, directly behind you.
Hey.
If you could. Have him lubed up and all. I love Timmy Chandler, but he is 33 and he hasn't played for almost a year. So, you know, I think he's injured right now currently.
So, Derek, do you have any tattoos?
Hell no.
Okay, just asking.
Hell no.
If you have a tattoo, that's up to you. But here we go. My bro's tattoo didn't turn out so good. Feel like your tattoo artist has to learn how to draw.
Oh my God. A thumb, motherfucker, not a penis. It even has a little cum coming out of the tip.
Yeah, what is that supposed to be? The shine on the nail right there? Come on.
I guess so.
Right there, that little shine.
That little shine. Oh my God. He just got a guy jerking off on my fucking arm.
On his wrist, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
every
wow.
time he goes and eat from a bowl of cereal, he's got to be looking at this cock going right towards his face.
I mean, he's got the whole swoop of the finger wrong. Compare. The one that's the tattoo swoops from left to right, whereas the other one goes right to left. The thumb goes right to left, and it's straighter.
So
like,
stroking it, yeah.
Dude, somebody pranked your ass so hard.
Speaking of which, though, I'm on top of that. Look at the index finger here. That's just a horrible index finger. But he's getting all the way up to the tip. So, I mean, where's it going to go? It's going to go up, right?
Yeah, why you picked to put this on your arm is beyond me anyhow. I mean,
I like, because they when they do the tattoo and everything, they put the stencil down. And then you look at it, you're like, yes, that's what I want, and then they tattoo it.
Right.
You're looking at it, and going like, yeah, it's close enough. Fuck it, go for it.
I'm sure he'll make that more look like a finger at some point.
Get some coloring done on it.
Yeah, Jesus, that's horrible. Who is your hero, Dad? Why do you consider this person your hero? He is brave. Is there anything your hero is frightened of, Mom?
It's true. It's true.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, in some dynamics, that's how it works. Not mine, but hey, that's why I'm divorced. All right. What else you got? You're good?
Stuff like this.
Oh, let's do this. Let's do this. So these are the motherfuckers that are they going to make it?
Well, these are going to make it. Some of the motherfuckers out there. There's a huge amount of motherfuckers.
Can we blow this up a little more? All right. So I could tell you if you're wasting your time or not on most of these guys. You're not wasting your time with Stefan or Horvath because our goalkeeper depth is so thin. They'll be around for a while.
Well, again, that brings me to my point in the sense if they do go to MLS, I mean, do they have any higher contention than say like I said, a Calendar or a Salentano?
If they play better than those guys, I guess they do.
What if they go back there and their teams do good, but I mean, no better than say the two goalkeepers mentioned?
Well, then those Salentano and whatever, they get the call up. Listen, you don't come back to Colorado if you're Stefan and have a bad season. You're definitely still not going to. Listen, there was a time where Stefan played in the Bundesliga on a regular basis and started and looked like a solid fucking player in the Bundesliga. Maybe that's where he should have stayed instead of signing for fucking Man City.
Well, it wasn't that because he signed.
It was a loan.
And he got loaned out, yeah.
I agree, but why not seek out that he was well respected as a Bundesliga keeper? Mm-hmm. Why not go back there? Why come all the way back to MLS? Well, now he's ruined his reputation to the point that I don't think any Bundesliga teams are really that interested in. So his loan, and I know he didn't want to go real far, but his loan to the championship hurt his reputation. It did not help. And I know he didn't play that bad. Yeah, he did. He did play that bad. I'm sorry. He had horrific gaffes all season long. 1 out of 3 games, he had a gaff. Okay, maybe one
Loved
out
by the
of
fans.
5.
Loved by the fans.
So,
This takes me to a point I wanted to make about this whole topic, and this brings us back to Monday's show when we were talking about Pukstas over there in the Czech League.
yeah.
And
Premature.
everything. And there's the rumor that there's the rumored transfer rumors that he's being touted by a bunch of Bundesliga teams and then Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the Bundesliga teams are keeping tabs on them, or even Arsenal for that matter, but we always joke around like everybody. Of course, when you're that big, you're always keeping tabs on people.
Exactly. So ridiculous.
But I made a comment today. It's like, well, I hope when he makes his move, hopefully it's this winter or maybe even in the summer. But when he makes the move, I hope he picks a team that's best suited for him. But it's his life, his choice, his career.
Mm-hmm.
My point being is that you have somebody like Stefan who could have come to any number of teams throughout Europe, but MLS and Columbus won the payday from his transfer. He went to Man City, and he got loaned out. And then we're seeing these major clubs loaning these players out. And, of course, it's up to the players at that point to prove that they can compete. But do you want to become part of that loan army, or do you want to go to a mid-table, low-table team that you're going to consistently play at?
Ask Matt Miazga.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about a couple of these. Miazga's on the pitch here. We're going to talk about a number of players who whether or not they panned out or can't pan out or wouldn't have been able to pan out. And a lot of it comes to these record signings with massive clubs. And all of a sudden, they just get loaned out, and then they're not necessarily considered viable options for those own teams. I mean, with Miazga, when he went to what was the team he went to in Spain?
Oh,
doesn't matter. That's a byproduct of the whole topic.
He went to Holland, Spain, France,
championship. And when he was in a number of those teams, he went there, he played a couple games, and then he never played again.
He was great at QPR.
Yeah.
But not great in France. Well,
there we go.
I don't know if he was great or not. They certainly made him the scapegoat. Alves, thank you.
But my point there is that when we're talking about some of these players and some of these younger players and stuff that are making the move to Europe, that getting that we want our players tested at the highest level, but we also want them to consider the constant growth and playing time that you're going to get for playing at a lesser side.
Don't be part of a loan army.
No,
don't.
We're not at a point where we can just sacrifice players to the loan armies because we don't have that great of depth.
EPP is another example. Loan army victim, because that's what happens when you're part of the loan army. You're just getting loaned out to a different team every season.
Yeah,
and you know what you are to them? A mercenary, a visitor, and you know what? It's just not the way to go. You want to go to a team where you can lay down your roots, play for 2, 3, 4 years, build up your reputation there. A loan army is just another negotiation after every fucking season, and there's no guarantee you're going back to the same team again. And that's what happened.
I imagine if that team is interested in having the same player back again, that the team that's loaning him out is probably going to ask for, not paying as much money or doing this or whatever.
Right.
And they're going to be like, nah, never mind.
Right. It's very rare. It does happen maybe 1-2 seasons, no more than that. You get loaned back to the same team. It's just rare because there are all kinds of people and teams looking for these loans. And so the team's going to just go with the best offer. So if another team makes $100,000 better offer, they're just going to go back to that. You might have some say, but not much. You're part of their loan army. They're in control. Your agent will help. They'll do the best they can. I mean, if Matt had his choice, he probably would have stayed at QPR the whole time, right? But he didn't have that choice. So,
that was one of the things I said about Trusty too. Like, maybe it would have been best for him to stay in the EPL or EFL at that point. But he's found a home for himself on a crappy team that's going to be in the EFL next season.
Yeah. So he's settled. Whereas EPB, he's not settled. You can say he went to Greece, he was signed, whatever. That's not settled. And it certainly isn't looking like any of our players to go to Greece. It's just a fucking disaster right now. Conrad, you can go down the fucking list of everyone who's going to Greece.
I just don't know why you would choose to go to Greece at that point.
I don't either, but maybe that's just the best option again.
Take a lesser option.
Where?
I'm sure you can take
Belgium?
a pay cut somewhere. Yeah,
probably.
EPB could have opted. I don't know his
after his season.
Contract. I'm saying he could have probably taken a bigger pay cut and gone to some lower division team in a different country.
So he went to one of the biggest teams in Greece, where he's probably still going to get paid pretty well.
Sure.
But yeah, you're right. Maybe he should have said, I'll play for a mid-table Belgian team. But that's between him and his agent, and his career. So, but yeah, EPB, he's going to be battling to be considered a Reading. I'm sorry, I said QPR. Goddamn colors fucked me up. Yeah, it was Reading. Same colors, basically. So that probably fucked me up. So, yeah, either way, you don't want to be part of a loan army. That's bad news. And that's why EPP and Miazga are on the far edges of ever being called up to U.S. men's national team right now.
Mm-hmm.
And on the far edges of making the 2026 team. They're on the far edges. Brooks, we don't have to get into that. We know why he's on the far edges, even though we shouldn't be. He's got a beef. They got a beef. Pieri? All right, Pieri. Here's a guy in the last 2 years that's missed 44 fucking games for injury.
Yeah.
So he's another guy that's had so much injury. It's hard to really say. He's at Excelsior now. But he went from a $4 million player to a $900K player over those years of injuries. Mm-hmm. His value has dropped like a rock. And I mean, he plays Excelsior now, but it took him a while to get there. Started off on the bench. Mm-hmm. Now he's played like the last 7-8 games or whatever, 6.
Well, there's going to be a number of players on this pitch that fit into that description. Like, oh, well, he was injured for like 2 seasons straight. He's no longer quite the same player as he was, or he's not as expensive and as developed as he should be.
I mean, he was the captain of the youth team for Holland for years, and he's just not the same player right now. Could he build himself back up at Excelsior? And I don't think he's ever going back to playing for Ajax or Feyenoord or one of the top teams. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I think he's going to severely start looking at that American option.
We don't need him. The way he's
that's
playing,
the thing at this point, right? How old
we
is
don't
he?
need him. The way he's playing, we don't need him. I think he's like 24, 23, somewhere around there. But we don't need him. We don't, unless he starts killing it. But he's not. He's not killing it in Excelsior, not killing it. So, I mean, we'll just have to keep an eye on his progress as he's come back from this injury and is just now getting some playing time. But right now, he's way out on the outside looking in.
I think he's apparently injured again.
Yeah, he's on the way out looking in. If he just got injured again, that must be pretty recently. All right.
So left back, we got Bello.
All right, joke. That's a joke, right? He's not a regular starter for Lask. He's like an every other game starter for Lask.
Well, I mean, it's not a joke for him being on this list. I mean, have you looked at the rest of his list?
Yeah, I know. This is his wish list of guys he had high hopes for. I never had any high hopes for Bello. I don't know if you did, but he never passed my eye test, even in Atlanta.
Well,
never.
The test failed immediately once he bounced over to Europe. Even at Atlanta, he wasn't phenomenal, but I mean, there was definitely flashes there, and you saw what could potentially
when he was young, when he was in his teens.
He left when he was like 19.
He never grew from that. He's the same player he was when he was 17, 18 years old. He's never gotten any better. Never progressed. Never got a higher soccer IQ. Never, developed more physically, really. He's just not. Yeah. He's got no hope. He's got zero hope of making
the important question here: who's better, Bello or Vines?
Vines.
I'm taking Vines.
Yes. But Vines has been injured so much. I don't even know.
He didn't make this list is surprised. Maybe the guy, whoever was Scott, maybe he just doesn't rate Vines as highly.
Well, that's fine, but Vines is another guy who's going to be, unfortunately, the victim of just injury city. He's just injured constantly. And then he's got bad administration at his team that didn't even register him for the fucking Champions League. So there you go.
Yeah, well, that was fucked up, man.
Yeah. And I don't know who KHAF is. Who the fuck?
That's what I was about to ask, too. I'm like, I have no idea who KHF is.
Anybody know who KHF is?
KF. Name the team player that starts with K. Can you think of one? Not Conrad.
Not Conrad.
Kobe. Her name is Foster. There we go.
Oh, he's done.
You are killing it, BMR.
He's done.
BMR show.
Kobe Hernandez Foster's done.
He hasn't. He's in France, right?
Let me find him here. There's you got Kobe Henry is also in France. Remember him? He plays for Bellajoles, which is like a third.
Who's one that Pete liked a lot?
That would have been. I know who you're talking about. Let me see. I've got a list here.
Am I mixing up names?
So Kobe Hernandez Foster's at Ham Cam. So we'll take care of that first. He's at Ham Cam. Okay. In Scandinavia.
Okay, there we go. That's on you here.
He's not a starter. All
Fair
right.
enough.
He's not a regular starter there. I don't know. I mean, he was one of those guys that a lot of people had a massive opinion about, including Pete. Pete also loved Justin Che, by the way, who's now at ADO Den Haag.
Well, I'm kind of surprised he isn't on this list either.
Yeah, but he's fallen off a cliff.
Well, that's my point, though, is that everybody had high hopes. Everybody had high hopes for this kid.
Yep. And that's why when we say most of them don't make it, they don't. Even if you had high hopes, which is I don't have that anymore. I don't go like, oh, yeah, that I learned my lesson. I've said it a million times here with Salah. Injuries take a toll. All kinds of things can take a toll.
And we're happy to say, hey, this kid's got promise, but we're not going to be blowing our load saying we need to bring him into camp right now.
Exactly. Kobe Henry was another one of those guys. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, that guy's gone. Well, now he's on loan to a third division team in France. He does play occasionally, but not very often. Uli Lanez, who's stuck at Wolfsburg.
Oh, maybe jumping the gun here. I think he's in here. Yeah.
Okay. I'll slow down then.
Yeah,
I'll slow down then.
Stick with our team here. We're going right back next. We got Fosse.
So, Fosse's still got hope.
He's still playing though. That's the thing.
He's
right?
young. He's injured, however.
Prior to injury, he was playing, right?
Yes, for Standard Liège and doing some good stuff.
Sure.
But he can't. He's got to get away from the injury bug too, right? But he's still got hope. He's still got hope. What is it
about this generation and the previous generation that are just made of glass? What is this?
I don't know. It's a lot of injuries, though. I mean, EPV's injured right now, right?
Yeah. Well, again, we're going to be talking about a number of players in here that are injury prone.
Yeah. Shaq Moore, don't even put him on here. Seriously? And Reggie Cannon's at QPR and starting to get a starting role, but he is fighting behind Joe Scally and Dest, who apparently some people think's not good enough to be on the U.S. men's national team, which is a fucking joke. So, yeah, I mean, Cannon's playing, but he's got a massive uphill battle to get any spot or a sniff at 2026.
I mean, the problem is with Cannon is he's called out Berhalter.
Yes, that doesn't help him.
That's going to play against him. Cannon has fallen into the Brooks trap here. And he is going to be behind Jones and Dest and Scally, I think, at this point.
I mean, Dwan Jones not serious, is it?
Well, I'm just saying it's more likely to be called in the Cannon at this point.
I mean, depth, I guess it's what you're talking about there, but yeah, not realistic.
I guess at this point we talk about you can talk about Reynolds. I mean, maybe even Reynolds is above Cannon and move forward. I think I think Cannon's interview, while I appreciate the honesty and I would love it if we had more honesty, but I know what happens is USSF gets petty, Berhalter gets petty,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden you never hear from these guys ever again.
Yeah, talking about if you're Cannon, like you were just amazingly shocked you didn't make the team and that other guys didn't make the team. I mean, how could Cannon be that shocked about making the team? I guess because Shaq Moore made it. I mean, I understand that. And that Greg told him he didn't know if he was a right back or a center back. Well,
And
Greg says that fucking ridiculous shit to Sargent. He said it. He knows what they play. He's just being an asshole.
So I had this conversation yesterday. So real quick, though, Bilbo says that Fosse played today. So he's back from injury. Apparently.
I just went through the list today. I did not see him on there, but I might have missed the Belgian league stands.
Yeah, so I had this conversation because I forgot we must have been talking about Cannon because what were we talking about that caused this to come up?
Oh, Cup game. Anderlecht versus Standard Liège. Anderlecht won 2-0. I did not catch the Belgian Cup game stuff. Fosse went 90. Well done. Good eye. Whoever caught that.
Bilbo Swaggins.
Bilbo Swaggins. You gotta love that name.
But it came up, and we were talking about where Berhalter basically puts his foot in his mouth. It was about Scally because they're talking about Scally playing right center back in a 3-back line for Gladbach.
Now,
and I go, oh, that sucks for Scally because it's the same reason why Cannon was left off the World Cup. It's because we don't play with the right center back,
right?
And it was just like it's so stupid because I understand that Berhalter comes down to he's like, I've got to pick one other right back between Cannon and Moore. I'm going to pick Moore, and all you have to sit there and say, hey, it was my decision to pick this person over you.
Right.
Because they both played equally throughout the qualifications. They were both called in almost equally, and they played periodically. So it's not like he favored Moore one way and then said, Cannon, whatever, you know. But then he comes out and he says, like, you've been playing right center back for your team, and we don't really play with that. So we're going to bring Moore instead.
Such a bullshit.
So dumb.
I mean, a better excuse would have been, listen, hey, Reynolds, or excuse me, in this case, Reggie Cannon. Hey, man, I couldn't really pick between you and Shaq. So what I did is I got erect and I put a quarter on the end of my penis and I flicked my dick up in the air and caught the coin. And you were heads and he was tails. Well, it came up tails. So I'm sorry, my man, you're out. Rather than give you the bullshit excuse of, well, I don't really know if you're a right back because you've been playing right center back. What a bunch of load of fucking. If I were Reggie Cannon and I heard that, I would have been, you're full of shit, dude. You know I can play right back.
He did come out. He came out and said it during the Hudson.
Well, I know. He did.
That backfired. That backfired real fast.
Exactly. That's not going to go down well with the Berhalter crew.
Or I bet you USSF wasn't very happy with it either, to tell you the truth.
Right. No. Otis Sal, you got to be fucking shitting me. What a fucking train wreck.
Well, there were definitely a lot of people that were high on him. And then all of a sudden, they didn't realize that he was actually going to Europe for a modeling career.
You know, they bought him for millions of dollars. You know what he's worth right now?
A bench spot?
$300K. What a clown. I'm sorry, Owen, you're a clown. You're up in the Sebastian Soto clown category.
I
give
Soto
dude.
more credit, though, because at least Soto is putting in the work, going to club and trying, not necessarily trying, but
is he?
Here's that he's trying.
No, it doesn't.
He's getting some minutes here and there, whereas...
No, he doesn't. He hasn't played for Klagenfurt for almost a year.
Hasn't he been injured for almost a year now?
I don't know if he's injured or not, or if he's just waxing his dolphin in a bathroom somewhere.
I imagine with Soto, there's definitely an attitude issue there, probably.
Yes.
Some kind of a mental issue that's just not clicking with everybody, every small team he's going to. But at least he's making the moves. Whereas Otis is like, I'm just going to finish out my contract. I'll make my money taking shirtless pictures over for this random toothpick company or whatever.
They even played him in the first game of the season. Club Brugge. They even played him in the first game. And he's atrocious. So there you go.
That's what happens when you don't play for 2 fucking years.
And they played him at center back, which you know he hates. He didn't want to play center back. So, And he said that to Greg too. He told Greg, "I'm not playing center back for you."
How would his career have changed, if anything, if he would have said yes to Greg and then played center back and maybe done well? That maybe there are other teams out there looking at. They go, well, maybe he's not a 6. Maybe he is a center back. Maybe we should try him as a center back.
I mean,
It's still a mental issue, but still,
what a massive fall from grace. Playing at Wolves on occasional games, playing some big minutes off the bench to this. I mean, you got to look in the mirror if you're 0-0 to Sally and go, I did this to me. But you know what? A guy like that, a clown like that, doesn't do that. He blames everybody else but himself.
I just don't know how you put in the time and the effort all through your youth to get to that point, and you made it. You made it to the biggest stage. Oh, not the biggest, but a severely big stage, especially for your career. You made it. And then you twiddle your thumbs and fuck around for a couple of years.
He's so banished.
So dumb.
He's so banished. They sent him to the 2 team, and he doesn't play there either.
He's. I would be surprised that he might, just because of a lack of depth, he might get interest from USL or less at this point.
Less, I would think.
I mean, USL,
because he's a known mental case.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason. For $300K for his pace that he had, I don't know if he still has been maintaining it and everything like that, but his
and
pace
he's a
and
big,
ability,
he's a big guy.
I mean, it's just for $300K. Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there going like, I could probably take a chance on that. But if I'm a USL team where $300K should grant you like a designated starter that's going to be balling for your club.
No, this is the kind of guy who's like, I'm sure I'll get some other good. I'm gonna get out of here. Somebody else will sign me, and I'll show them who's the boss. Okay, dude. Maybe you say yes more instead of no more. How's that?
Yeah.
Correa, I'm not even talking about. Parks, not even worth talking about because he's never been considered U.S. I like to keep.
That's a shame. I feel like that was a shame, and that was a glaring miss on USSF. Quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, there were times where he should have made some windows, where especially Camp Cupcake, and he didn't even get a look on that. I just think.
I mean, I don't know. He was with who was he with in Portugal? Who's
Benfica.
Benfica, thank you. I mean, he played some time there. He came to MLS, playing there. And there are times where he's had bad games, but I mean, he should have gotten a look. Camp Cupcake guaranteed. The Gold Cup. What?
So this is the magic story. You go to Europe. You show some shine. You don't go back to MLS. You go to the Netherlands. You go to Belgium.
Go somewhere else in Europe, yeah.
Yeah, you don't go back to MLS because you're done. You're just done, dude. After that, you were done. We've seen it over and over and over again.
Well, I remember I was talking with Simon on Twitter about the pettiness of USSF at times, especially when you're talking about like big name. He even brought up the point like, when I wonder how petty they can get with like no name people. But I brought up the story of this was more MLS based, but I brought up the story with Lee Wynn when he went over to PSV, and then he went to Randers, and he was bouncing around a couple of clubs in Europe, and then he wanted to come back. He wanted to come to MLS, but MLS offered him the minimum contract.
Yeah,
which at the time was like $20,000 or something like that. Something stupid.
That was ridiculous.
And it was glaringly obvious that they were still pissed that he said no to a Generation Adidas contract after his 1 year at IU.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to go to Europe instead. Try my luck there. And they were still pissed, so they offered him the minimum. There's no reason he should have ever gotten the minimum contract.
So he went to Vietnam.
So he went to Vietnam for a couple of years, made some Vietnamese bank, and then came back, and finally New England was able to offer him a six-figure contract. But I mean,
and played really well for New England until Brad Friedel got there.
So, yeah.
Brad Friedel, worst MLS coach ever, or close to one.
It's the stupid pettiness that occurs within our sport in our country is phenomenal.
Right. All right, let's take it up a notch and go to the other guys. Ooh, Mendez, who can't start for Vizela, a mid to lower table team in Portugal.
You'll notice a common theme with a lot of these players is that they were youth players that looked like they were going to be great players, because they had a great tournament or a great time with the U17s or whatever, and then they go to Europe and just fizzle out.
Yep.
So that it's a tricky thing when we start talking about you. And we have had this conversation on Twitter with a number of people when they're like, "Oh, this is gonna be the next. This is gonna be the next Pulisic, or this is gonna be the next Adams or Way or whatever." And we're sitting there going like,
"No,
pump those brakes. Let's wait. Let's
Calm
see
the
what they
fuck
can
out.
do. Let's see what they can do at the club level. There's no reason to praise them as the second coming of Jesus at this point. Just calm the fuck down."
Yep. I mean, that goes for all the names underneath it as well. Caden Clark.
Yep.
Bassett. Yeah. It's like, no. N-O, no. No, none of those players have any hope of being there in 2026. Zero. Mendez, he'll be lucky to come back and play for a USL team at this point. Honestly, if he plays for an MLS team, I don't know how that's going to go for him.
I don't know. That'd be tricky because, I mean, I guess it depends on the team. I mean, there was a time where he was getting consistent minutes and doing well.
For Vizela last season at a certain point, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, it wouldn't be unheard that he could come back to MLS and do well. I mean, I guess it just depends on where he's going.
Maybe
he goes to LAFC, probably won't see any time. But
I mean,
you're looking at lesser sides.
You look at the roster of Vizela, and you're like, that's some bare bones fucking motherfuckers on that team. So he can't even be the star of that team, and he was supposed to be one of our stars. I don't know, dude. No, I don't think so. Ledesma, same thing, dude.
Ledesma was plagued with injury, and I don't know if he's ever necessarily recovered. We've talked about that all the time, too. Injuries play a massive factor, and they will fuck your career up.
And it did. It fucked his career up. Paul McCall as well, right below him.
Yep. Even Sonora had some injury. I mean, was it Allen, or it was Allen that had some consistent nagging?
Allen did. Yeah. The Sonora brothers, you can just chuck that off. That ain't happening. They went to Mexico. That flopped. So no.
Allen flopped in the Gold Cup that we flopped in.
Yep.
Him and Zedas, you're just like, this is your chance, guys. This is your opportunity. And they went,
yeah. Yep.
Big old fat dropping.
Brian Ko. I mean, I know Pete was massively high. This might be the guy you were talking about.
Was he a Wolfsburg guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Another guy that didn't work out because neither did Hernandez Foster. Didn't work out there either. But now he's playing at Ingolstadt, which is a third division Bundesliga team. He's not a regular starter. He's not kicking ass. He's not taking names. I mean, it's really, really sad to see because he was one of the most highly rated youngsters when he went to Europe. And at his age, 21, he's 21 years old, dude. 21. It's not like he's a young, hairless nutsack anymore. He's a man. He's a man playing in 3 Bundesliga. You got to be fucking dominating, dude. Dominating.
Well, at this point, this goes to what we were saying about don't come to MLS. Go find a lesser team in Europe. Play. I'm sure he's making more bank.
But that's a much lesser team. He couldn't play for a 2 Bundesliga team. He's got to go all the way down to 3. Ingolstadt are the massive droppers too. Might be down to the Ostliga soon, for all I know. So,
yeah. Tax responded to him and Pete stomping on our time with this. I'll say nothing without my lawyer.
Are they still going?
No, Pete's done.
All right.
That's why our normal number of viewers are back.
Okay, good. That's great. The show must go on.
Yeah.
Uli Lanez, man, went to St. Pölten in Austria, and you thought, man, he's just going to kill it there. He did all right. Didn't kill it. Now he's just sitting in a fucking hotel room and somewhere in Wolfsburg or whatever apartment suite he's got because he ain't playing for Wolfsburg. Who knows where he's going to go next, but it's another guy. I've really put Mendez, Ledesma, and Uli almost all in the same category. They're smaller players physically who never really grew that much more after the age of 17, 16. They didn't really physically develop. Maybe that's part of it. It's hard to say what the problem is, but they all didn't work out. And a guy that maybe can come back to MLS and have a decent career, but he ain't no 2026 guy. Julian is.
I would argue and say, outside of maybe Brooks and one of the goalkeepers, there's not a single person that here would be contending for
not even close, or to even have anything but an average career going forward. Sabi, at least he's playing for Le Havre in France in the actual Liga 1, and he's getting some time off the bench. So I'm not going to count him out completely yet, because who knows? But I doubt it. Nothing about his career in Scandinavia showed me that he's going to ball it in Liga. So, I know it would be a massive shock to me if something suddenly happened with Sabi. But he's out. He's out. Something amazing would happen. Like fireworks would have to shoot out of Sabi's ass. And he would have to do something completely amazing there in France to get himself back in the conversation. Conrad, we've already had that discussion. Same thing. Shit would have to shoot out of his ass. He would have to have a brain transplant to fix all the wrongs that are wrong with Conrad de la Fuente.
The funny thing about that is that we talk about our depth out wide, and it's like one of those things. Like if he continues to, if he gets consistent playing time and he's doing well, he might find himself in contention, or not contention, but just in the conversation.
Got to be with a better team than Ibar. Can't be in Segunda, although that didn't hurt Shaq Moore, who couldn't even start in the goddamn Segunda and still got called up to the U.S. men's national team. There is the consideration that Greg's still an idiot, right? So you got to keep that in mind. Jonathan Amon, you might as well just wipe that motherfucker off the list.
Hang on one second. Larry, if you want to see, I'm sure you're not trying to make an argument that you want to see Haji on this list, because these are players that are
out of the picture completely. Yes.
So
these are players that somebody had high hopes for that right now are totally out of the picture.
They're done. The toast.
But Haji's
still Hajing it up.
He's still in the picture. He's on the peripheral, but he's still in the picture. Conrad, gone. Jonathan Amon can't even get a start lately with Ligby up there in the Scandinavia area. Mighton, that ship is passing quickly. So when he was with Forrest, you thought, well, let's see how he develops. And then Forrest's like, yeah, we don't need you. Get out of here.
Well, even at Forrest, he was still getting, even in the EFL, he was only getting very, very bit minutes. Ridiculously bit minutes.
Right. So I'm not holding out hope for Alex Mighton becoming.
I saw a couple games of him playing, and I was sitting there like, are we really busting it out on this? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Hey, you know what? Props to him. He's gotten to a far higher career than I have, so I can't say that much about it. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like we have better. I feel like we have better options.
So it's like you can't criticize him.
Oh no, I'm not saying I can't criticize. I'm saying congratulations to him for being better than I was.
I don't want to give anybody any sniff of that argument, Brett.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But
do you ever play in the
league? Well,
you never played, motherfucker.
I can sit here and say, well, it's not going to be me, but we have better options.
How can you possibly be able to criticize? You never played in the league, dude. That fucking argument is so goddamn stupid.
But I don't mind those arguments because they're so easy to dismantle. So easy, and it makes that poster look like an idiot.
Typically, yes. Yeah. But they don't feel that. Unfortunately, they should feel it. Hoppe. I actually woke up this morning. And I thought about making a phone call because I got connections, obviously, and I could find out what the plan is next, because we just heard about the fact that San Jose is not interested in having Hoppe back. And so the question has to be, and this would be my question, and it would be a personal one to my contact, would be, what's going on, dude? For real, what's going on? So what's really going on here?
So this screams to me that Burrow wants X amount of dollars, and San Jose is like, you know what, we can probably find somebody that's going to produce just as much for cheaper. It wasn't worth the signing or the transfer,
Right.
because people are saying like, well, I mean, hell, Hoppe had more goals than Cal had. But Cal's already signed to them. They're looking to make a pretty penny off of his transfer at some point, I imagine. But they're probably looking at it going like, nah, we don't need Hoppe at this point. Nothing against him per se. I mean, maybe it is something against him. I don't know. But I think that was more of a financial issue, more so than anything. And he's going to be back at Burrow.
Yeah. Well, that's not good because Burrow does not seem to respect. Well, he doesn't seem to respect what Hoppe would want, which is some playing time. And he got a little bit at Burrow, not a lot. And then he went to Scotland and they gave him some playing time. And then that shrank down to nothing. And now he went to San Jose and it took him a while to get in the team. But once he did, he made a difference here and there. Mm-hmm. He scored, as you said, more goals than Cade Cowell did in the season when he barely played for them. I don't know what to make of Hoppe right now. I really don't, except he's got no chance as I see it at 2026.
No.
And something very significant, maybe in the maturity department, I'm not sure, would have to be made for him to, because he has some tools that look like they should pan out. We've seen him in the Gold Cup. We've seen him play as like one of the best players on the pitch. We've seen what he did at Schalke. Mm-hmm. Is all of that a flash in the pan? All of that meaningless? And if it is meaningless, it's because something else is wrong. Something else is not right. And I told you I've been a pussy about making that phone call because I don't really want to be given a bunch of, not that he would give me bullshit, but his perspective would be very pro Hoppe, obviously.
Sure.
Right. And so that's not really going to help. And then having to listen to that and having to say, but this and but that, dude, or but I don't want to have like a negative discussion with this person because I really like this person. I like him as a person.
One of those things where you can ask the question. I don't know if you necessarily get a clear answer.
No, I'm not going to.
Because it's not going to happen. So I mean, I don't even think it's worth the time to reach out. I mean, you can reach out for other things or just say, hey, how's life?
Yeah.
But I don't think saying, hey, what's the deal with Mathew Hoppe? You know, I don't think it's necessary.
We would talk about Mathew Hoppe. We talked about our dogs when Gizmo was alive a lot because we're both big dog guys. But I haven't reached out since the trauma in Hoppe's career started because it is how we met. It is how we got together and how we hung out. But it's just I just feel such a negative thing. I want something positive to happen so then I can reach out and say, this looks good. You know, like, okay, the goals with San Jose, that was good, but it wasn't enough yet, you know? Well, so anyhow.
It'd be the equivalent of if you went on a bender and you were doing cocaine off of the ass cheeks of prostitutes, and people are asking me on Twitter, like, hey, what's up with Derek? I'm like, he's just he's trying to figure out this crazy thing called life. It'll be fine. It'll be good. Don't worry.
A late midlife crisis.
He just needed a bump, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Never had a hooker before, so I don't know how that would be.
It's always the first for some of them.
No, there's no point in it. I got these great dolls. All right. Soto. Yeah. Dude, Clackenfurt. That's all I got to say. And then Gio Caccini had a pretty decent season at St. Louis.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel he should be in contention for say some Gold Cup / Camp Cupcakes. I mean, I loved what he did with the U.S. and the Gold Cup they did participate in.
Yeah. All right.
I have
to go to the bathroom. So I'll let you continue if you want to, but I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes. And then I have a list of other players we could go through. But I guess, God damn it, Derek. I know. I really got to go. My bladder's like.
Go. Get the fuck out of here.
Okay. All right. I'll be
Jesus
back.
Christ. What the hell was wrong with that kid? Well, guys, we're not so unprofessional. You should have held it until the very end, or feign like what's that? Oh man, my kid's having a problem right now. Well, you can't necessarily do that per se. The curses of living alone. You can't make a random excuse about where you're going to be. I agree. Just piss in a can. My basement, or I'm able to piss out here out in the wild. There's a tree right back here. I can go there anytime I want. But I'm a professional. But my basement back at home, not finished, and it doesn't have a bathroom in it. So I've got to run upstairs. So it's a longer time frame. So I tend to be more professional. I just hold it. Probably get some kind of an issue later on in life. Oh man, glad to see everybody's here. We got 88 people in the for the live stream right now. God, wonder if we have 88 likes. If you haven't liked yet, guys, go down below. Hit that like button. You haven't subscribed, which I imagine all 88 have. Hit subscribe. Yeah, well, nature calls, man. Nature calls. Oh man, I think the neighborhood cat would be upset with Derek if that were the case. He used his quote unquote woods. Oh shit! I forgot that I unsubscribed. Jack, we might be looking into doing something like this because we are branching out, and we say this every fucking week, I know, guys, but we are branching out into the FC24, EA FC24, and we might branch out into Discord and go from there, just to expand upon things. I agree, Al. Let the cat inside. That was a fun video. And this is a random fucking thing. The cat's never returned. But for those who don't know, last winter, Derek had a cat outside his window meowing. Right. And Derek wouldn't let the cat in. I believe it froze to death.
I don't need rabies. It's one of the worst deaths possible.
Yeah.
Nobody survived. There's been one person, maybe two, that survived rabies. I don't know this cat from a hole in the wall. I'm not letting him in my house. All right. There's some other. Go ahead. It
was just in the background. Derek's talking.
Yeah, I remember. It was weird. He's never been back. I don't think he died. I don't think it's winter. It was winter. Some guys in the categories, right? Sure. In these categories.
Yeah.
Busio and Tellman. They still got hope. They got hope. Both of them do.
Yeah. But Tillman? You said Tillman, like Timothy?
I mean Tessman. I'm sorry.
Tessman. Oh, no, yeah. Tessman definitely has. No, yeah. I would never have Tessman on this list at all. I would have Busio on this list before Tessman. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Way
Busio,
before.
Yeah, definitely. But here's the interesting thing. On transfer market, Busio is worth $3.7 million and Tessman is worth $2.4. Okay. What are you watching, motherfuckers? Flip-flop that shit because obviously Tessman is the heart and soul of Venezia.
Yeah.
Whereas Busio is a side figure.
He's been and has been captain.
Right.
What? How? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Mihailovic, he's out for 2026. Pukstis, God, people are going fucking Pukstis crazy all of a sudden. Here's that guy that Pukstis in the 20 on the next backup for McKennie on his little. Come on, calm the fuck down.
There was a thread on Twitter that was talking basically how he's just like McKennie, like he is just a clone of McKennie, except for various obvious physical differences. But
can we see him play against teams better than the league he is in right now? Before we
might just see that, Derek.
Let's see it happen first before we jizz in our pants. Let's calm the fuck down and just take a breather We'll see what happens.
I'll say this in his defense compared to a lot of the players on that list that we've had up, and you're about to say, is that at least Puksas is playing. And not only is he playing, but he's a key player on his team.
Yes.
So
He's young.
It's not like he's
not 21.
Yeah. Well, even if he was 21, he's still playing. That's the key factor, really. But he's still playing for the senior team. And on top of that, it's not like the players that are coming over from the U.S., venturing over when they turn 18, and then they sit on the bench, and then they get passed around from team to team, sitting on the bench. He's actually taking steps in the right direction. So I can understand why some people may be having higher hopes on him than insert random player here,
Like
we've talked about already.
Charlie Kelman?
Sure, there's a great one. A lot of people hyped his ass up.
A long time ago.
Yeah, sure.
But Charlie Kelman is getting playing time off the bench for QPR. So he's still young, 20, 21. Is there a chance all of a sudden he starts starting or scoring goals in the championship? It's possible, but it ain't going to happen this year. Probably happen next year if it's going to happen. So, I mean, have we taken championship level players to the World Cup before? Yes, we have. So
Sargent.
There you go. But he'd have to start killing it Josh Sargent scale, and I don't see him as a Josh Sargent. He's not even close to his skill level. Novakovic, same. Done. I know he played for us.
He's been done for a while.
He's been done for a while. Let's see. Who else did we not talk about? Dwayne Holmes is he's banned. He's blackballed.
Whoa.
He's blackballed.
You've been talking with Larry for a bit here, haven't you?
No, but he is banned.
He is banned. No,
we broke it on this show.
Yeah. I'll agree. I'll definitely. We did break on this show. Yes, I'll definitely agree with Larry when he talks about how Holmes was banned. 100% agreed.
I love how people tweet shit sometimes. They're like, "Yeah, I kind of heard somewhere that Dwayne Holmes was sort of blackballed, but I can't remember where." Our show. We told you on our show. No one else told you. We were the only show that told you that. Scaretta, the Shredder, Brian Shredder was on our show. We talked about Dwayne Holmes. He says, yeah, total blow up with Berhalter on the field, horrible exchange, curse words, you name it. He ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. We told you that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't care if fucking Dwayne Holmes scores 20 goals for Preston North End in the championship. He ain't coming back as a wide player for us. That relationship is done. Julian Green, too old at this point.
I wouldn't say he's done at this point. He could find his that put him on like 29, 30 at that point for the World Cup.
He's not playing out wide, though. He's more of a classic midfielder now. So
maybe
do we need another box-to-box midfielder? No, we don't. So he's out.
Well, he could be filling in the third option behind Reyna and Tillman.
No. Maximilian Dietz. Yeah, not 2026, maybe 2030. Great player. Great young player.
Yeah, some big changes would have to happen before 2026.
Well, there's already a lot of talk that Firth is not going to be able to hold on to him.
Oh, I would imagine not.
He's rated extremely high by Bundesliga clubs as a young player, and there are all kinds of rumors that he's leaving. He's going to be gone after this season. So definitely a player we've been talking about for 3 years, 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an eye on that kid. We already talked about Justin Che, Lyndon Gooch. No, that ain't gonna happen.
It's a shame. I liked what he brought, but too far down in the system at his prime years. So
Chandler's too old. Terrence Boyd's too old. Augustine Anello, it's too early for Sparta Rotterdam. Too early to say. Johan Gomez, he's 22, man. He's playing in 2 Bundesliga. He's not exactly rocking his house. I don't think he's going to amount to much. Sam Rogers is still stuck at Lillestrøm. I know we had some big Sam Rogers fans watch our show, but guys, he's got to be playing somewhere else. He can't be playing for Lillestrøm and then not start every single fucking game. He needs to be starting. Jonathan Gomez now at Mirandes. Wait and see, baby, because it's too early. Zach Booth, Volendam, Taylor Booth's brother.
Jumping back to Jonathan Gomez, I mean, there's even rumors that he's mulling over his options to play for Mexico.
What?
Yeah.
I guess they took Julian Araujo. So I guess. I mean, seriously? Is that how fucking desperate Mexico is? The kid is not. He's not there yet.
I saw a tweet. Somebody was like, Araujo is the best, Mexican player we've ever pulled from the United States national team. And somebody else responded, goes, well, he's like the only person that's ever gotten opportunities with the Mexican national team that opted to switch over to the Mexican national team. So, yeah.
Right.
We go over that list all the time. I mean, how many people make that switch or whatever? I mean, Jonathan Gonzalez was the prime example one.
I mean, listen.
I remember that shit when people lost their fucking mind when he switched.
Who?
Jonathan Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah. Well, mostly because of the lies that were told by.
It was a bunch of like, oh, USSF really fucked this one up. Oh,
they did.
Owned this kid's gonna be a baller, and
they did fuck it up.
Sure,
but I mean, that's on him for making that horrible decision based on promises that the Mexican Federation made to him that they never kept. They never kept those promises to him. Yeah. So buyer beware. Buyer beware. If you are a Mexican-American player and go play for Mexico, buyer be fucking ware. We picked Lund instead of Gomez. Why?
Well, it wasn't between the two of them. Gomez was called in for one of the U23 camps.
Yep. And
he declined it because he wants to kind of still keep his options open. If I recall correctly.
So. He told us he's not ready to make that decision. So that's not on us. That's on him. So Lund got picked instead. Bilbo.
And he filed the one-time switch. Yeah, he shows us.
Bilbo Baggins. Remember that song? Who played Mr. Spock? That was
Leonard Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy. He wrote. Yes, he did a song. Bilbo Baggins. What an atrocious song, though. Have you heard it?
I mean, yes, I have. But have you heard Leonard Nimoy talk? I mean, yes, of course he doesn't have the most beautiful singing voice.
It's not his singing voice. It's the song is atrocious.
It is a little bit of both. I think you column A and column B there.
I mean, we'll have to play that some show for people if they haven't seen it yet. But it's not as bad as Shatner's Mr. Tambourine Man, which they play the music and he doesn't sing it at all. He's like, hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy. And there is no place. I'm going to. Like, he doesn't even sing it. He just talks through it.
But that's the thing. He's made a career basically doing his
making an ass of himself.
Doing his
making an ass of himself.
No, I think he's fine.
Making an ass of himself. Because that's what that was. That was a live performance. It's on YouTube. Look it up.
Okay, so I guess I was misinterpreting what you meant by making an ass of himself.
Well,
but he's acquired a large fan base despite that.
He's from Indiana.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I was unaware of that.
Yeah, he lives not far from here.
Like 900 years old. So
yeah, he's alive and breathing.
Yeah,
he is. Lucas Paus plays for Lausanne as a center back in Switzerland. Since nobody's even talking about it, I'm going to zip right past him. Sebastian Soto, we already talked about. Male Corbos for Verl. Third division. Bundesliga is now 31. He's out.
Don't say.
Yeah, he's out. Joe Efford. Remember he played in the Scottish Premiership for a while?
Best fucking name in the world, by the way.
And now he's at Giannina in Greece, a lower table team in Greece. I don't know.
Saying Joe wasn't giving enough effort.
He's done. He's done. Let's see. Who else we got here? Jack DeVries was at Venezia, and they sent him off to Passaro.
Well, that's a Philly kid, right?
Yeah, I think that's Syria C, I believe. So he's way down there. Griffin Yao, Westerlo, don't get too high on that kid. Isaiah Young at Rot-Weiss Essen, he's 25. Time to pull the plug. We do have a 21-year-old kid at St. Truden's in Belgium, center forward, a tall kid named Kaveh Zahir Oslalom. Somebody to keep just a sniff at. Don't get too worked up about it. We also have a Brian Schwacke playing at Castellón in Spain. I think it's the second division, I believe. Sagunda as a goalkeeper. He's not playing, but he's there and he's learning. He's only 22. Malik Sinogo at Nuremberg 2. I mean, he's only, 19? But it's not looking very good. It's not looking good.
Oh, he was killing it for the youth squad, so who knows?
Not looking good. It's going forward.
Romain, at some point.
Romain Gall, just write that shit off. He's 28. He plays for the 4th Division, Rot-Weiss Erfurt. Remember the Romain Gall talk? That's done.
Sure.
Already talked about.
What about Terrence Boyd? He got to start just this past weekend.
I mentioned him earlier. He's done.
Oh, you already mentioned him? Oh.
Yeah, he's too old. And then, there were some other players that could talk about John Hilton at Dordrecht, but that's the 2nd Division of Belgium. Like, nah, none of that's even worth discussing. You got Von Coville at Hull City. Yeah, well, where's that going to go? I don't think anywhere. He's 20, doesn't play, really. So that's it. That's all we got. That covers everybody. Did we miss anybody?
Bandit says, we don't have any teen wonder kids, concerning for our next generation. Well, considering how all the wonder kids that we just brought up, how well they panned out compared to a number of the kids that play for our senior squad now who were not wonder kids throughout the youth. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if that's necessarily concernable.
All these kids that we have right now came up through the Tab Ramos system. This golden generation came up through the Tab Ramos system. The Tab Ramos youth development system at U.S. Soccer. And U.S. Soccer basically took a gigantic, enormous fucking dildo and fucked Tab Ramos in the asshole. And I was a little surprised that Pete didn't know before doing this interview with Tab that Tab left. He didn't get fired. He quit. We've said that multiple times on this show. Basically, they took his job away from him. They gave it to fucking Jay Berhalter, which we said on the show before. They fucked him in the ass, and they said, if you want to stay, A, you got to move to Chicago, and B, you got to start setting up, and your system has to look like Greg's system going forward. And he said, fuck my fucking, you could suck my dick. Here's my middle finger, and I quit. That's what happened. And we've said it multiple times because we had some inside info at the time when it happened. And we reported it when it happened. Well, not when it happened, but when our show restarted. We told the story of what happened to Tab Ramos. So it's a little weird that, Tab's, maybe we should have Tab, but Tab's not going to give us that shit. And Tab doesn't give a whole lot here. But what Tab does give in this interview with Pete is a little inside info about why he left. And that's at 1325. I'm sorry. 1325. Why did he leave? No, he explains, this is Pete just finding out that he left where Tab left. He wasn't fired. So we don't need to do this. I just explained it.
Okay.
So we'll move on to 1345, where he explains why he left. Because he's just informing Pete that he didn't get fired. He left. He quit. So at 1345, he explains why he left. And it's exactly why we all thought he left. All of you out there too.
Gotcha. Well, I did not know that. What made you want to leave?
I think the Federation had changed a lot. If you remember, there was the whole, I was a youth technical director, but by the end of 2000 or the middle of 2018, I was already not part of the hiring of coaches. I felt like I was sort of pushed to the side, and I was not part of being the actual youth technical director, which managed the youth national teams. I was already not in federation meetings with other organizations, like, you know, whether it's U.S. Youth Soccer, U.S. Club Soccer, all those organizations that I was always in contact with.
So, two vital organizations for youth development.
And yeah, they didn't even kind of like, there was no sort of formal thing. They just basically said, yeah, you're not going to that anymore. You're not important for that role anymore. We got that covered. You're done here. You're done there. Then he's like, well, I'm the fucking tech. Well, then they just replaced him completely. Then he's like, well, fuck.
Didn't you get the memo?
I mean, and
you were the technical director, not anymore.
Yeah, keep playing. This is good.
It's because we had reformed all of our youth development programs, including the way we played when we introduced rules to play.
There you go.
And a lot of things that we did with a lot of the organizations.
Implement rules, huh? Is that what you're basically saying? Is that they basically said, hey, you either play this way or it's a highway?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. Even though he started it.
Yeah.
So I felt like, and at the time, they at U.S. Soccer started with the whole move to Chicago thing, which, you know, was only really, I think, to get rid of people. It wasn't really to get people to move to Chicago. And I felt like the environment at U.S. Soccer was very toxic. It was not a place for me to be, so I left.
There you go.
You mentioned in the
we can move to, so this is great because he just called U.S. Soccer toxic. Okay, has U.S. Soccer fixed that? Is it fixed? Is U.S. Soccer no longer toxic?
Betty Crocker hired Greg, so clearly it's fixed, right?
Well, we all know why. If you looked at the glass something, can't remember, Glassdoor, which used to do all the reviews of companies, former employees, and U.S. Soccer was at the bottom of the pit.
So,
and the comments were atrocious. Jay Berhalter was criminally, I don't know how you want to call it, but he was a horrible leader.
It's like
a horrible.
I want to believe some of those Glassdoor reviews, but I've also got to second guess people who've been fired or let go from companies that are leaving scathing reviews.
Most of those people are quit. They quit.
Or quit, for that matter. Yeah, sure. Either way. I don't know. It's just there's always two sides to an argument. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but I'm just saying, even if you quit a job, you might. I'm telling you, I've dealt with enough people where they have imaginary slights, and they make a mountain out of a molehill out of nothing. And I've seen it in our district too. Just in my district.
As a former employer, I agree, but they don't usually make up the majority of the people that leave your company. A lot of people go on, they get other jobs, they get other positions, and they don't have the energy to go back to fucking complain on. They got to be majorly grieved. But in this case, now obviously an internal investigation was done, and Jay lost his job because of this shit. And now you got other people like Tab Ramos confirming what the internal investigation confirmed and what the Glassdoor critiques were, that this was a toxic fucking place to work at. It was horrible to work there. And it's kind of funny when you get to the 1500 part, he describes, we're almost there.
We're
already there. He describes who was the major contributor of that toxic culture. Here we go.
Past that, while you were the youth technical director, Jay Berhalter was essentially the acting technical director, and would get involved in technical decisions, and that was frustrating for you. Can you speak a little more to that?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure when I said that, but that's pretty accurate. You know, to give you an example, when Raphael Wicki was hired to coach the under-17s, I didn't really know about it. And by the way, Raphael is a great coach, and so we were very lucky to have him. But it's not. He wasn't the profile of coach that I was bringing into the national teams. Or my profile coach was, here we are, we're changing the mentality of the players, and I wanted former national team players to lead the way in each age group. I wanted the players to have an example of someone who had been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not easy to find, because a lot of coaches, a lot of former players want to coach national teams. But I wanted to make sure I found coaches who were dedicated to the profession of being a coach and to dealing with the demands of being a coach and teaching the game, which is not easy. But I wanted that profile. That's what was important for me and for our youth national team players. And all of that changed without my knowledge.
Basically, yeah. He goes on to explain, not only did that change, but of course, later on, as we've discussed on the show before, the way they were going to play changed. You had to play Greg's system. And if you didn't play Greg's system, then you're being forced to. So they don't get into the details of that. And I wish they did, because that was also part of the problem. But he kind of hints at it anyhow. Like, they started hiring all these people and I had no power anymore and I had no say-so in the way, the technical direction of it. Isn't that just a fucking really toxic way of going about replacing people you don't want, which is forcing them to move to Chicago? When what's in Chicago? There are no fields. There's not even an indoor place where you could really bring all of the youth teams together to play.
Hey, Chicago Fire has built one.
So anyhow, the bottom line is that Top Ramos got fucked and he got out with 2 years to go on his contract, and he made the right decision.
All for nothing, Derek, because they're no longer going to be based in Chicago.
I know.
They're going to be based in Atlanta, or just outside of Atlanta.
Yep.
And here we go. U.S. Soccer has announced that their new national training center will be in Fayette County, located 30 minutes south of downtown Atlanta. It'll cover 200 acres of land, featuring over a dozen fields and over 100,000 square feet of indoor courts for all 27 of the U.S. national teams.
Can you imagine being in Top Ramos's shoes? A fucking U.S. soccer legend, doing really great work with the youth teams, doing really great at the Youth World Cup, and totally being dissed the way he was dissed.
No,
could there be anything more repulsive than a guy who's put in so much work, and so much effort into this, and just actually doing what Greg wants to do, and that's changing American soccer by building a golden, silver generation, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And now we're wondering, where's the next one coming? Because, folks, I got to tell you, after the Dempsey, Donovan, Beasley, after those guys, what was the next generation? That was the Breck Shea black hole generation.
That was more like the Michael Bradley, the Josie.
No, they all belong in the Bradley. The Bradley belongs in there with Dempsey, and Donovan's a little older.
Tail end of
that's all the same generation, generally. All right,
Okay.
generally they all played together. Not any of them were massively older or younger than the other.
Donovan and Beasley played in 2002 World Cup, whereas Bradley's
They
first
were
World Cup was
18.
2010.
But they were not much older than Bradley, though. Not that much older. It wasn't massive. But after the Bradley generation, if you want to call that the bracket, what happened? We went into a black fucking hole. There was nobody coming up. So when we were competing against Trinidad and Tobago for the 2018 qualification, you had a bunch of old motherfuckers and a young kid named Pulisic. There is a good chance, since Tab Ramos left his position as the youth technical director and the technical director in general, that this has all gone to shit since then. And that we're not going to have any more Pulisics, McKennies, Adams, going forward. We're not going to have another generation like this. Weah, Pulisic, Sargent, Balgun, we didn't have anything to do with. Robinson, we didn't have any. Jedi, we didn't have anything to do with. So there could be another black hole coming behind us. Because can you name me the 18 and 19-year-old outside of Reina, who's now 21, but the 18, 19, 17-year-olds in Europe right now who everybody's busting a nut for?
No.
You can't. Where is the next Pulisic? Where is the next Reina? Where is the next McKennie? Where are these guys? Because those guys, when they were 19, 18, and even 17, were already playing on a regular basis with top teams in top 5 leagues. Where are those kids now? We don't have any. So we're looking at the next generation behind this generation and wondering what's going on. Where are the superstars? Where are the Pulisics? Where are the Reinas? Where are the McKennies? Where are the Adams? Where are the fucking where are they? So that generation behind the Pulisics and the McKennies, McKennies, the Adams, those were all Tab Ramos kids. They got rid of Tab Ramos, or they forced him to get rid of himself. Who's the next guy to pull this whole program together? And is that guy Betty Crocker? And if Betty Crocker's leading that, and he just got there, so it's not up to him. But you got rid of Tab Ramos too early, way too early.
So
he should be there now.
Yeah, going back on a point, Bradley and Josie are the same. Or Bradley's like 2 years older, but they're the same age as Breck Shea, and they're about 4 to 5 years younger than Dempsey and Donovan. So technically, Josie and Bradley fall into the Breck Shea black hole. So those were like the few standouts that happened in that entire black hole.
Right. And Altidore didn't last as long as Bradley did. And Altidore is
you mean him shining, because they lasted literally the same time period, the 2010 through 2018 cycles.
No, what I'm saying is Altidore's been a bust for 3 years now.
Oh, sure.
At least Bradley kept playing, not for the U.S., but at least at a club level, at a sustainable level up until his retirement this season. Altidore's been a bust for 3 or 4 years now. But Altidore's been a bust since he got back to the U.S. He's been a bust. He had one good season at Toronto, and that was with the Italian maestro helping him out. So anyhow, I guess the point is we can't have another black hole like that. And if you're U.S. soccer and you're just shunting aside, you're just shitting all over and not recognizing a guy like Tab Ramos and what he was able to do, even though he's very humble about it. Tab's like, okay, yeah, but those kids had talent. Well, you helped them. He's not going to say that. He's not going to brag and say, yeah, it was all me. That's why McKennie became McKennie. That's why, Adams became Adams. That's why Pulisic became Pulisic. Sargent became Sargent. He's not going to say that shit. But anyhow, I just watching that whole interview, I just thought, I cannot believe we took a U.S. soccer legend, we gave him a job, and then we faded him out without telling him, without saying, hey, you're being faded out. We just dicked him. We just fucked him, Jay Berhalter. Just fuck this guy. Because whatever the current CEO of U.S. Soccer was having heart problems. So Jay Berhalter basically took control for 4 years of that program, turned it into a total shithole, culture fucking piece of shit. I don't know. I'm just saying the Berhalters seem to me to be very toxic people. And I don't think that Greg is as toxic as his brother. But certainly everything I've read about Jay is that dude's a dick. He's a fucking 100% cock-sucking piece of shit. And he can sue me if he wants to. But that's just what I've heard. So that's in quotes. It's what I heard. You can sue the people who told me that. You can sue the people who told me that. I am just regurgitating what I've been told. So
I guess the big issue here, we went on a tangent earlier on talking about how we can't overhype a bunch of kids. And it's clear that we don't have a Reyna or Pulisic in this upcoming generation per se. That's not to say that we won't have talented players that come up through the woodwork, but I was thinking back on it. We really don't necessarily need to have. Well, it would be nice to have, say, like 3 or 4 complete standouts, and maybe we do. I just maybe don't follow these 17s as closely as I used to back in the day. There was that kid. I had to do a bit of a search here, but Kevin Sullivan. People were hyping the shit out of him. And he did well for the U17s, I thought. He's a Philly Union kid.
It's too early.
But
he's 17.
That's literally what we were just talking about for the last 5 minutes, that there's no standout in our youth. Who's the next Reyna? Who's the next Pulisic at that age? And now you're just like, oh, now it's too early.
No.
What are we talking about here?
Is he at Dortmund?
No.
Is he at Stuttgart?
Maybe he doesn't have the access to go to Europe like that.
Until he's 18?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sargent went when he was 18 and became
an
almost immediate starter for Werder Bremen.
Very true.
Is Sullivan going to do that? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Don't think so.
I don't know. Sargent.
I'll bet you. If you had to put your money on it, would you put your money on Sullivan?
I've seen. Oh, people are correcting you on this. He played for the U17s. Or he wasn't on the U17s? I thought he was. Who was? Sullivan's only 14. I guess.
If he doesn't,
17s too.
If he doesn't have a passport, he won't be able to go and like Sargent. He won't be able to go till he's 18.
True. Yeah, I know, that's kind of my point.
And that's tragic. That's sort of the benefit that Pulisic got by going over there so young. But that didn't matter to Reyna. He went over there. I think he went over there when he was 17. I think he had that benefit as well because he was born in Sunderland. So he had the benefit of going over early. But if you don't have that benefit, you got to do the Sargent role, which is go over there when you're 18. That's pretty hard. You're pretty much a developed player at that point. So, I mean, we'll see. Listen,
people are listening names of other people too. They mentioned Figueroa. See what happens with him.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But, I mean, is Figueroa at 19, 20, 21 going to get to play for Liverpool?
Doubtful for Liverpool, but
I doubt it. But yet,
Pulisic, who knows? At 18,
Pulisic
19,
got to play.
He might be somewhere else.
Pulisic played at Dortmund. Reyna played at Dortmund. As teenagers.
Again, we're talking about a team that has history behind developing teenagers and then selling them off. That was kind of their model up until.
That's not recently. Liverpool's model.
Exactly. That's my point I'm making here, because you're asking, is he going to be playing for Liverpool at 18, 19? Probably not. How many 18, 19-year-olds really do play for Liverpool?
And he's
probably some, but not enough. And usually they're purchased at that point.
I'm not saying Figueroa's not a good player. He is a good player. Eye test? He ain't even Sargent to me yet. Honestly. You know, he doesn't dominate in the way Sargent did, to the point where he got lifted out of the U17s all the way to the U20s.
He played in the same summer. He played for the U17s and then the U20s.
Right, because he's that good. I'm not seeing that happen. I know. I could be wrong. Does Figueroa make the Olympic team, the U23 team? I don't know. But I don't think he's been called into any of the camps recently, so who knows? No. So I don't I don't know. I mean, I'm a little cynical about what's going to happen after Ramos left. And I think Ramos was probably, at least the way we started to play, at least the way we beat France. I mean, that was a team, and he'll always say it wasn't just me, it's the players. He's being humble, but he got us playing in a way that was free-flowing and creative. As he said in the interview with Pete, you got one extreme, which is the X's and O's guys. And then you got the guys that are good in the locker room. Those are two extremes that are not X and O's guys. They're just man managers. And he's Klinsmann was a man manager. He was on the far, opposite wing of the X and O's guys. That's a Greg guy. Greg's an X and O's system guy. And then he said there's all the guys in between. And I think he falls into the in-between. Ramos is an in-between guy. Yes, he cares about tactics. Yes, he cares about X's and O's. No, he's not going to go so far as to ignore those things and be just a Berhalter guy and allow other people to manage that for him. But I don't know. I mean, obviously, Top went to MLS and had a horrible team to work with, or maybe it wasn't that horrible. I don't know. And he failed miserably. And now he's in USL. But it just seems a real shame to poop a guy like that out and to do it in the sort of disingenuous, nasty, callous, cold, thoughtless manner in which it was done. So I didn't want this to turn into a Ramos defense show, but that's kind of how I feel. And maybe that's because, I'm from sort of the Ramos era. And I grew up watching him play. So for me, it was almost personal the way they treated him. So, but we'll see what happens with his career next. That's about all I think we got for tonight, Brett. Right?
Yeah.
By the way, there's a kid named Marcel Roussel playing for the Torino's U19 team. I think he's 18. Maybe he's 19. He's a center midfielder. Another guy I just ran into today doing some research. So, guy to keep an eye on. Otherwise, right now, this generation going into 2026 and 2030 is very promising. So, let's stay positive on that and hope that there are kids coming in behind who are going to pressure some of these other players that we have now. Be on their heels by 2030. Oh boy. What did Stu do?
So Stu's starting 11. Ideal starting 11 has Reyna at right wing.
Idiot.
What a fucking idiot. At right back.
Such a fucking idiot.
We have Richards and Cameron Carter-Vickers. It looks like in the center back, which is fine. Tyler Adams with McKinney and Musa. So we're just going to go back to Berhalter's 4-3-3, huh?
Yeah, all I got to know is you're playing Reyna as a right winger, so you're a dumb fuck, period. You're a dumb fuck, Stu.
Let's isolate him in the corner of the pitch.
Where he can easily be cut off in Canada. Oh, yeah, he'll play an insider role. He'll cut in a lot. Okay, fine. But still, he's not the quarterback of the team anymore, is he? Is he? No, you got your standard Musa, Adams, McKinney. No, this is not what we want to see. I don't want to see this. I've seen it so much with fucking Berhalter. This is not what we need to be successful going forward. It's got to be different than this. Why doesn't Weah stay outright? Weah is massively effective outright. Massively effective. He's been one of our best fucking players. Outright.
It is so fucking glaring when you remove Weah from right wing, what it does to our team.
We fall apart.
He absolutely stretches the defense. He laces in great crosses, something that we are incapable of doing. And being a right back in this scenario will basically indicate that he's going to be doing the same thing too. He's going to be busting up and down the pitch, trying to lace in crosses, but get him in and around that box because he still can score goals. Why are we giving him any defensive responsibility?
This should be called Stu's ideal Berhalter cock-sucking starting 11, because that's all this looks like to me. Although at least Berhalter would play Weah as a right winger and not Reyna. Okay? At this point, I think even Berhalter realizes that Reyna's got to start, and it's not out wide. It's going to be Weah out right, and it's going to be Reyna behind Balogun as a CAM, and then you're going to have to dump one of the three, Musa, Adams, or McKennie. And it's going to be Adams at this point if you're playing a team that you're supposed to beat.
It's gonna be Adams like through Copa at this point. I mean, by the time he recovers and starts playing with Bournemouth, I mean, how many games is he expected to play at that point?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I saw this and I had to pull it up because I'm like, oh my God, we just literally went back to MMA, despite the fact that Reyna is successful in the midfield, the center of the pitch.
Has Stu ever thought outside of the box in his entire life?
He's a USF stooge.
What a fucking stooge, dude.
Hey, USSF, look, I can do it too. Look, I want to play the Berhalter system.
I mean,
there's nothing ideal about this. I understand that Weah plays right wing back for Juve. And hell, that's a bigger team than Dest playing for PSV, but it's not the same system. When Weah plays right wing back, he is all over that right and center of the pitch.
Does he have? I believe he has Weah playing right back.
It's just right back, yeah. It's not even wing back, yeah.
So he has Weah playing right back instead of Dest?
Substitute for Dest, yep.
What a fucking idiot. Weah is worse playing defense than fucking Dest is.
Yeah.
What a waste of Dest's talents. I mean, at least Dest can somewhat understand how to defensively get back. But Weah is just even starting to learn this position, and he's not even doing it that well. He gets the games he played for Juventus, he's getting burned as a defender out right back, getting burned constantly.
And Juve don't have him at right back or right wing back for his defensive capabilities. Mm-hmm. They've got three solid center backs that do that job for him. All he does in the defensive is add pressure, but they want him to get into the attack, and they have no problem with him pinching right through the middle. Because all he does, he goes down the line sometimes, but then other times he connects with people and he runs this line right here, right towards the center striker. And at times he actually acts as a second striker up here.
Guess he hates Tim Ream too.
Yeah.
I'm not playing. I'm playing Ream and Jedi next to each other. Sorry, that chemistry is proven.
Mm-hmm.
Why you put? I have nothing against CCV. But it's really between CCV and Richards for that other spot.
For now, yeah. Until Ream just constantly takes a shit on himself. But
you know, it amazes me. These guys get hired to do this stuff, and they have no ability to actually think outside of the box or think in a rational manner. Like, this is not a rational lineup. I don't care how it'll do fine. Do just fine. But it doesn't put Reyna in his best position. It doesn't put Weah in his best position. It leaves out Jedi's best partner, Ream. I mean, this is just thoughtless. It doesn't take in consideration any of the dynamics of the team. This is just his jizz-worthy fucking lineup, and it's really, really, really conservatively stupid. All right. Well, I'm not a big fan of Stu when I was when he was a player. I loved Stu as a player. Loved him at Bolton. Loved him. As a commentator, he's just straight up fucking garbage. And I don't know. I'm sure that Alexei had his starting 11 there too, but we're not seeing that. So
yeah, I was scrolling down and hope to see if somebody caught that, but
let's just make Weah useless and Reyna useless. Just do that. That'll work. And make sure that our right wing defense is completely vulnerable, even more than it would be under Dest, because actually Weah is a worse defender than even Dest. And that's unbelievably hard to say, but it's true. So, all right. That really is all I got to say tonight. What about you, Brent?
Yeah, I mean, that covers everything.
And we didn't even take on the whole idea that Woody Allen adopted a daughter, raised her, and now fucks her on a regular basis or did for whatever time being. That's disgusting. I'm sorry.
You got brought up because we talked about the stepsisters and stuff. This is completely on a different spectrum.
She's adopted.
It is the definition of grooming at that point.
It's disgusting.
You went out and you adopted what looks to be like a 6 to 8 year old, and then end up marrying them. That is fucking
groomed her and fucked her.
Gross.
I'm sorry. Woody Allen is a brilliant fucking movie producer, writer. His movies are fantastic. But what he did as a personal human being is disgusting. That's disgusting. Like if I adopt somebody to raise them as my daughter and then I end up fucking them, that's disgusting, dude. I'm sorry. At all levels. Stepdaughter, stepsister, different things, guys. Different things. I had a stepson, but let's say I turned gay. Would I want to fuck my stepson? No. That's disgusting. That's just not something you do. You're his father at that point. I'm raising this kid to be he's my son. And now I'm going to take advantage of my position of authority. That's just gross. And groom him. Ugh. What? Puke worthy. So no, we cannot compare fucking your stepsister because you're on equal ground as a stepsister and a stepbrother. You are on equal ground. But a stepfather fucking his stepdaughter, disgusting. Especially if you raised her since she was a little girl. That's gross. And Woody Allen is gross. He's a disgusting, creepy motherfucker. I don't care how brilliant of a writer and movie maker he is, because he is. I'll give him those. I love his movies. But this is just gross.
Well, yeah.
On all levels.
What if you were a grown adult and your dad remarried a girl that's your age?
So you're saying I married somebody who had a grown ass daughter?
No, this is the whole look at say like porn and stuff. It'd be like stepmother and son type thing, but it's always like the father ends up marrying a chick that's like the son's age.
Oh,
and the son's already like an adult.
Well, then you're just setting it up for disaster, aren't you?
You gotta deal with that and all. That's messed up.
So that's on you at that point. Don't be marrying, if you're 50, don't be marrying 21-year-old chicks. I mean, unless
you, I guess
you got no sons that are the same age as she is. So, yeah. Okay, god damn it, Brett. We covered a lot of territory. More territory that's behind your head, probably. There in the wilderness. I hope we covered everything. We'll be back Monday. I got to get on the phone with Pete and berate him for interrupting our show.
Yeah.
And until then, just stick with the stepsister thing, guys. Don't go out of the
box too much.
Yeah, stay out of the box in the stepdaughter situation. All right, stay out of the box completely. Let her rule her box and grow to be a normal human being who has affairs with somebody who's not 40 years their senior, because that's disgusting. Until the next time on the Straight Red Card, thank you for being here. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma, and we will be back on Monday. Until then, we love you.
But she's a trap. She's an unsung novel. Turn a laugh and get your whole world dazzled on the line. Or a phone call with or without wine.
That hurt.
I'm tuned in like crazy, and I'm pretending like I know what they're doing, and I'm
articulate and intelligent.
Greg's a bitch.